attempt for all Salon people and then party them. Sarah Jem Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour, and the Gladi program. Look me, I look you. All this they start soon na www.sarahjemmedia.org. Now who's tem these?
The total population of Sierra Leone in 2019 was stated approximately at 7.8 million. And the most common cancer reported in 2018 was breast cancer, with an incidence rate of 25.1% and a mortality rate of 19.2%. Ward 2 at the Connaught Hospital, Freetown, is a female surgical ward that cares for patients requiring breast surgery, chemotherapy, and palliative care. General surgery also admits to the ward as see fit. The ward is in need of a significant refurbishment and has a major impact on patient assessment and delivery of treatment, dignity, comfort, and infection control measures. The current ward area presents a significant challenge to infection control. There is no fit-for-purpose or adequate personal hygiene facilities. The showers and sanitary areas are in poor condition and are difficult to clean. The flooring is deteriorated. Overall deco and fabric of the walls need repair and full decoration. Furniture, cupboards, and shelving require replacement. The sluice, known to be the dirty utility room, is in poor condition and needs replacing. Windows need to be replaced as current windows bring in draughts, dust, debris, mosquitoes, and rodents. There is no designated area to provide a day service for patients receiving chemotherapy. Medical supplies is desperately needed. Therefore, we need a total amount of £15,000, which is equivalent to 195 million leones, for this project. This project will focus on women diagnosed with breast cancer and other non-malignant breast abnormalities requiring one or more of the treatment modalities that are currently available. We will also set up a day unit for the administration of chemotherapy and provide training and development to ensure sustainability. Therefore, I am pleading to all individuals, organizations, and local businesses, and every Sierra Leonean and friends of Sierra Leone to make a meaningful contribution that will never go in vain. Ways to contribute will be seen at the end of this clip. I am Aissata Sisejalo of the Health Show Partnership Program. Remember, your health is your wealth.
Nina Yvonne Akisoya, and 11th May 2021 make me 3 years where I don't day in office. I say let I come and tell Freetonians them, una boku tenki for where una elect me and una give me this mandate for serve una. But I not just want to tell una thank you for when I elect me, I want to tell una thank you for what una don't work with me and work with the councillors, work with the staff of Freetown City Council, work with so many stakeholders, including the central government, the international partners, the local partners. I want to tell una, the Freetonians and thank you, but I want to tell all the other groups and the Boku Boku Tenki. Together, we embark on a journey for Transform Freetown, and in nobody not been say it go easy. We published the plan in January 2019, and then in January 2020, we published with first year report, and then in January 2021, we don't publish with 2-year report. Inside the reports and day, you go able for read in much more detail, waiting we don't achieve. But family them, as I just share today some of the things that really make me heart gladdy pan this walk here. One thing we're really glad about, now the wastewater treatment plant where we don't build na King Tom. This is not the first time ever in the history of Salone for let we get the thing we come on the toilet. Instead of it just gonna grow na King Tom, it actually they go into a plant where they get for separate the solid from the liquid and get for treat them and waiting get for come out can go towards manure. It can now be safely, the liquid can now safely be disposed into the waterways. Another practical thing we are so glad for, now this urban farming project, we bring over 300, in fact we start with 300, now we add another 200 women them. We now at them backyard them and in community level, particularly in deprived communities.
And you can create this, where you give, the okra they come up, they will plant them.
The women they do farming projects where go benefit them picking them, for get more nutritious food, but it go also help them for get small thing at the hand as they sell them in the market. And then that nursery school. Family then go no say we been not open the one at Congo Water Market for make vulnerable women them and then young picking it under the age of 5 get free quality preschool care. And now we dip and build the second one. We do refurbishment upstairs in the Croton Road Market, and that facility will be open and available to women and men traders inside Croton Road Market. Tricycles. Well then tricycle and they not only then they help for keep we city clean, they also they create employment. We don't create so far over 1,200 jobs with young people then where they go and collect dirty na the streets. And now we get 90 more where they come on stream. So I'm so happy because it increased the capacity for collect dirty. At the same time, it increased the number of people them, young people that we get work. Let not talk about the transfer station when I did the dirty then they go. So we don't get 4 additional ones, including the one at Lumley, the one at Approved School, the one at Shell, and the one at Allentown. Bele Uman them. Then they all over the community. That journey for going to PCMH, it can challenge Boko of them. So we work for upgrade 5 of we PHUs them for make them be monk, side with side Bele Uman, they able for born. Freetown people them, Boku people that know say dog na challenge na this city. And so we don't start a program for sterilize, vaccinate the dogs them so that we go get control over dogs and we the ambog motaman, but we the ambog themselves. We go make we city healthier and it go reduce the risk for let people then get us sick with and call rabies. I don't share small about wait we don't do and over these 3 years, but I just touch the Tinem Boku. I go say anybody who wants for no more. Also go now with Facebook page. We get Freetown City Council Facebook page. We also get Yvonne Akisoya, Mayor of Freetown. You go able for follow we. Let we continue for work together with all we stakeholders for let collectively we transform Freetown. Una, thank you and God bless you.
Na Yvonne, Na Yvonne, talk and go.
Hill Valley Academy is a school that provides the very best opportunities for our students to develop, grow, and mature into young adults who are encouraged to become patriots as well as global citizens. We have high expectations and ambitions for all our students. We provide a caring, supportive, tolerant, and challenging environment in which all individuals can grow and flourish. A graduate of Hill Valley Academy is a well-rounded human being capable of making the most of what life has to offer. We actively encourage academic excellence with a sense of responsibility. We look forward to welcoming you to our school and to meeting you in the not too distant future, because together we achieve the extraordinary.
Hello, my name is Josephine Kamara. I'm the founder of You Can Do It Foundation. You Can Do It Foundation is a charitable organization based in Sierra Leone, West Africa. You Can Do It Foundation has been in existence for the past 2 years. We have been fighting gender-based violence against women and girls within the community. During the past 2 years, we have been offering psychosocial support, counseling, court fee, medical fee, including school items to the survivors of gender-based violence. However, during the lockdown of COVID-19, report received and confirmed that rape cases among a minor has increased tremendously within our community. Because of this, You Can Do It Foundation has secured the land to build an accommodation for the survivors of rape. However, this may almost become impossible without your generous support. We need your help to build this home for the survivors. Your help could be in cash or in kind. If you wish to join us to make a difference in a child's life, please go to our website, which is www.youcandoitcyf.org, or you can go to our GoFundMe page, which is Home of Hope for the survivors of gender-based. Or you can contact us with the details at the end of this video. We thank you greatly for your generous support, and thank you once more for making a difference in a child's life.
When I was young, a lot of things were different. Unfortunately, most of the differences seen now are heartbreaking and are not good at all.
Before now, men were strong protectors of the weak, fathers, brothers, lovers, sons. Their mere presence guaranteed the safety of women and children.
But what do we do now? Men harassing and raping women.
Men sexually abuse little girls.
Men battering and killing their wives.
Any form of sexual assault, be it rape, sexual abuse, or pedophilia, is a killer to human self-esteem.
Women should stop dying in silence. Speak now.
The rapist should be stigmatized, not the victim.
I think death sentence should be the consequence of such terrible act.
And you mothers, build confidence in your children, put trust in them, listen to them when they make reports, and take necessary actions.
Talking of mothers before now, women were virtuous.
They were mothers, daughters, and sisters.
Nurturing, counseling, supporting their men folks.
But now, women are trafficking female children for money.
Women are forced to be silenced.
All this must stop, and it must stop now.
Real men do not abuse, rape, or molest women and children.
It is barbaric, unacceptable.
Let all real men stand with us.
Together, let's say an emphatic no to rape, sexual abuse, pedophilia, and domestic violence.
I was raped multiple times by my aunt's boyfriend when I was 6.
I was repeatedly raped at the age of 8 by a close family member.
I was raped at 19. I didn't speak openly about it because I was ashamed and afraid that people would judge me.
I was raped at age 5 by my caregiver's husband.
On June 17th, 2020, 5-year-old Khadija Sakon, a beautiful little girl from Freetown, Sierra Leone, was repeatedly raped and strangled to death, allegedly by her own cousin. Her death shocked the nation. But in truth, in this small West African country, 9 out of 10 girls experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. Think about that for a second. 9 out of 10. That's 90%. My name is Aisha Sasay. I'm a journalist and activist. I'm joining forces with Idris Elba and other activists from across Sierra Leone to support the survivors of sexual violence with the Survivors Solidarity Fund. Please consider donating whatever you can afford. All monies raised will go to 4 local organizations currently providing free medical and legal services to survivors. 5-year-old Khadija lost her life to sexual violence. That same threat remains for millions of others. So this is also a call for you to use your voice, your power, to draw attention to an enduring culture of rape. Together, we must end it now. My name is Aisha Sasay. I am Khadija Sako.
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 We are Khadija Sako.
We are all Khadija Sako.
Where person buy them products they are waiting and there for do, where the sun come out, then they go put this product directly under the sun. The sun now they charge the panel. The energy from the sun they store on this panel, where you can now host even term for can turn your light on.
My name is Mariama Kamara. I'm the founder and director of Smiling Through Light.
What that is? All right. Una call waiting. Kabatenke, not so. All man they look now. Hey, Batenke, who's are you there? Then kind of meet the paramount chief. And the paramount chief say, well, if una want Batenke, una get for put small cooler for Batenke. Yes. Aha. So then, we all want clean energy, correct? We all want solar light. And more importantly, we want solar light for we picking them for study. We want solar light, some of we want solar light just for run ordinary freezer. Are they, where they free tongue, I know what italic, where I not get light for just put food inside me freezer. Because it mean every day, first I go buy fresh food. If I don't cut the fish, before they put a light not there, the fish don't boil. Not so? Even when you smoke the fish, fly down, sit down, na tumbu the common, not so? But when Batenke down there, you get that light day. When net come, you put your freezer on with that solar day. Definitely, it go work. When you picking one for study, it like you know for put the big lights on, you picking, it go sit down, it go study fine. Because when picking the study on the light, we're not good, in yai. Not so? Right. And we all want to picking a healthy, smiling through light, solar energy. Batenke is about that. It's about health. It's also about wealth. As many other things as Mariama Kamara explained to her. So, me, not stranger, but today, me I dey talk and say, I dey go inside una belly, make una born me inside Lochar, make una take me as una young pikin. Case closed. Now me done so.
This is such an exciting time for us, and we've just launched a program called Shining a Light on Kamakwe and Lonsau. So we basically got a grant from, which is a comic relief and DFID grant under the Common Ground initiative, and this particular grant is managed by Afford UK. So Shining a Light on Kamakwe and Lonsau, it's all around job creation, income opportunities, getting the products in. So a couple of the activities that we're doing within this project is that we're recruiting 9 staff in Sierra Leone. So we're recruiting 3 staff in Freetown, 3 in Kamakwe, 3 in Lonsau. We're opening 3 offices in Freetown, Kamakwe and Lonsau. We're doing 2 community awareness events, which we held last week, Thursday and Friday. So we had this whole big road trip, and we're doing the community activities and we're using storytelling. So working with Mr. Yusuf Ujalo, the Cow Footprints. So the project is in partnership with the Mambena Cultural and Community Project. And we're using storytelling because even as a company, I don't want people to just get the products. I really want people to understand that I'm using the product and these are the benefits of it. So we're doing a lot of educational work within communities, training them on how the products work, why they should be using the product. You know, we always tell them that light is good for your health, it's good for your education, it's good for your business because of loads of different reasons. So it's a really exciting project.
As a professional storyteller, I am here to kind of like engineer a story within the whole project itself. If you've ever been up country in Sierra Leone here, firefly is very, very common here at night. But not many people have actually noted how the firefly actually gives its light. In the daytime, it's stationary. In fact, it's hidden in the daytime, absorbing the heat from the sun. And then at night, the firefly energizes itself and literally just gives itself fire, light, in order to light its way around. That gives the firefly independence. That gives the firefly the ability to operate when many other living organisms probably aren't operating at all. And just those 2 basic principles are important for our women, whereby through working with Smiling Through Light, selling the solar lights. They're able to generate income for themselves. Through that income, they're able to feed their families, and they are able to kind of get some kind of economic independence. Up country, when you go to school and you have to study at night, you have to use what we call bengbe lamp. Now, if you've been in Sierra Leone, you ever use what we call bengbe lamp, which is like just like an empty milk tin with a twig in it, and then we put kerosene in that, and you study with that kind of firelight. Literally, you get black nostrils, to put it very mildly. But also, it makes the young people ill. Bringing in solar light, like Smiling Through Light is bringing in, will help a lot of young people to study efficiently at night, but also to study and get a better health, while they're studying at night. So for me, using storytelling and using the firefly as a metaphor to illustrate the use of solar energy, I think is just very, very effective. It is within the cultural context of the people, and they just never will forget what Smiling Through Light is all about.
The problem we're trying to solve is really to make sure people are using clean, sustainable and reliable products. And why is this? Because only 13% of our population have access to electricity. So that means only 13% of the population have access to the grid. And once you don't, people now rely on different lighting options. So for example, people would use kerosene to light up their homes, they would use candles, they would use pan lamp, and these are all really dangerous. The good thing with solar products is that we're in a country where we have unlimited amount of sun. You're getting free light basically. So we want people to really have access to clean energy.
My name is Madam Mariama Kamara. Me na chair lady for the market women Marampa Chiefdom, and the trade what they do na lapa business at the deal with. The fuel system, they can short in the lights, because they get light free, as how the light been they run trade. And automatically, if they count solar system na losar, I not be able to tell you na lie. We they very happy, because at times we can get breakdown from the machine where they light for we. And when the machine break down, automatically you pick in there, then small lights they will make it and bug, they're not able to see fine. But if we get solar, the cable assist, we pick in there for let them read and a net for study. It's not easy for live now, sir. If the job, although job don't begin calm, but I'm not able to tell you say 15% of people they now, sir, they don't get. No, it's not possible yet. Mama, this program where they try for bring calm, we're really happy about that, because now woman will get respect for person self. You can't hire now with this project for can help Marampa Chiefdom. I say automatically we're ready for work with you. You get plan for in hometown. It will not go ever let her down. Shine the light, smiling through lights.
I am Yusuf Ujalo, the Cowfoot Prince. And the firefly, they came like this. Na pancake, yantenga moloa. Gudana yantenga moloa baba horimbing. Shining a light, smiling through
Hello and welcome to another edition of Sierra Media Live. Today, I want to say welcome to now all, and I take the place of the original Fulaman winner, Juma Ba. As usual, there are times when I go sit in, there are times when I go sit out. But today, I'm sitting in because we're bringing in something new, something exclusive, and something where we don't hope long for make sure that it happen at this platform. Well, this now one of the things that we already try for bring to the community, because we know for say the community is doing a lot, and the diaspora community, they do a lot in Sierra Leone. So we realize say some of these things for the diaspora they do in Sierra Leone, so much difference in terms of different things. So and make people understand say the diaspora is not a waste of space in Sierra Leone. There have been so many rumors hanging around people from the diaspora, what they do, how they contribute in a salon, whether their contribution makes sense or not make sense. And people are still criticizing us, even though we are doing so much. Apart from the remittance what they do in a salon, we also, they invest with time, we also, they invest with finance, we also, they invest with personal presence in Sierra Leone. And not just once, not just twice, on a regular basis. And with commitment to salon, it not just starts like okay, I want to go into politics, so at the beginning now invest in Sierra Leone. No. There are 90% of the diasporans when they invest in Sierra Leone, we're not getting nothing for good politics. It's just for the fact that they want to make a meaningful contribution towards their community back in Sierra Leone. So today we bring some of the young Sierra Leoneans then, we don't take up this mantle for go back home and invest, and not just to invest, but invest creatively and bringing in something that will make so much difference in the lives of not just young people, but old people and even kids. So we bring on another segment of different type of Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora. We have the male and the female, and there are times when people say, oh, Sarah Jem, why can't you just have women on your platform? Well, we always try to get women on our platform. We've been trying very hard. But guess what? We will not stop, because there are so many of these young women who have done exemplary good things in Sierra Leone. And now they begin fishing the one. Now, paupa, whether you like this or not, we will drag you and bring it down. But this one, not to drag more. We have been working together with this one for quite some time. And I know she's very much dedicated to what she's doing. So today we bring you one of Sierra Leone's finest female that has been working very hard in the UK and decided to go back home and invest her time, her money, her skills, her creativity in one of the most challenging industries in Sierra Leone, where you get to do with electricity. But I will not say much about this person. I will bring her on board so that she can introduce herself to you and tell you exactly what she's made of, how she started, and what is giving her that drive to do what she's doing. Welcome to the show, Mariama Kamara, and I want to make you say hello to the viewers them and tell them exactly who you are and what you're made of.
Thank you, T-Boy, and thank you, Femi and Juma, even though we're missing you. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I know, like Sarah Jem, you guys have supported my journey from the start in terms of Smiling Through Light and the work we do in Sierra Leone, and also BIM Talks, our UK initiative. You've always supported our journey, and I think it's so great to have a platform where it's just Sierra Leoneans, we're telling our own stories, we're creating our own journeys, and obviously we have a platform here where we can share those journeys to inspire others. So thank you guys so much. Hello everyone, I hope you're all okay. As T-Boy mentioned, my name is Mariama Kamara, and I'm the founder and director of Smiling Through Light.
You're not just gonna
You want me to talk about Smiling Through Light?
Of course. First, let's start with the BIM Talk, because that is something that is very important. Because when BIM Talk started, I think it was the initial start of your initiative to try and bring in something to the community that will create a platform for not just women, but also people who are making serious contributions within the community that we live in the UK. So tell us a little bit about BIM Talk first, because that is where the whole journey started, right? If I'm correct.
So I think BIM Talks was kind of born out of my journey. for us to have, like Smiling Through Light obviously is the bigger company brand, and BIM Talks is our UK initiative. So I really wanted to have something in the UK because, like you said, I'm from the diaspora. I've moved to London at the age of 9 because of the civil war in Sierra Leone. But for me, I've always had a passion, a drive to go back home to change. I think I always sit and say, like when people talk about the diaspora, like what you're saying, someone like myself, there's no need for me to go to Sierra Leone. Then it's that like my education's here, I've worked here, I've done everything here. So when you see people that's actually taking that leap or that stride, it's just more because of love of the country and because you want your nation to develop, you want your nation to grow. A lot of young women and men that I come across is that passion. I even remember last week or the week before the show when Shiba was talking about a similar thing. I think you guys were talking about consumers and her running her own business and a shop, what it's like. And she was saying people just think, oh, we want come for, I don't even know what they think people want to go for. But I just feel most of us from here, you have that drive, you have that passion. It's coming from the heart to say, as Sierra Leoneans, if we don't, and it's one thing that I really believe in, if we don't take that leap to change the country is definitely not going to change. Because it's one thing where you can look outside for outsiders to bring in help. But if you, as the natives, as the people from that particular country, you're not taking that stand, you're not taking that move, the place will just be at a standstill. So for me, I suppose those are all my drives to the work that I do in Sierra Leone and some of the problems that I've identified. In terms of BIM Talks is something that I look at, as you just mentioned, energy, the sector I work in, is so challenging, it's so male dominated. And even though I've studied up to a master's degree, I'm quite a practical person and I'm quite creative. So BIM Talks is really about when you see our community, just Africans in general, we tend to ask our children to either study banking, to go into medicine, to be lawyers, which obviously are excellent professions and you need that as part of your country. But then there's just so many different fields. And for me, I'm really interested in job creation, where people work in media, like, you know, the work you're doing, which that's another big industry, engineering, probably the media, just so many different aspects. And I just wanted women in the UK like myself who moved here because of the war. BIM Talks is all about showcasing what they've been doing in the UK. So these are all Sierra Leonean women who moved, showcasing what they've been doing in the UK to inspire younger people. Because I feel like when I started Smiling Through Light back in 2011, I didn't have really much role models. There were not a lot of, now I have a lot. There were not a lot of role models that I was like, oh, they're going to Sierra Leone and doing.
As in female role models, specifically.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, female role models. So I really wanted to create that platform. And we have loads of women like that do amazing stuff. You've been to BIM Talks and you see all of them. So I wanted really a platform where we can all showcase the individual work that we do within our own professions, within our own industry. And also it's just an opportunity for us to network, to share ideas, to meet. And I think a unique thing for BIM Talks was because corporates were really hosting us. Right. As you know, like I really wanted young people to go into the city, to places like Canary Wharf, to organizations and corporations such as PwC that's hosted us, Ernst & Young, EcoBank, I'm trying to think, GSMA, Thomson Reuters, because to be quite honest, our young people are not really that exposed to such corporations. You know, most things that we would tend to do would be in a local community center, which is not a bad thing. But these organizations are there. You can access their venues for free. It's all about, you know, your networks, your connections, and how you do. So BIM Talks is like a really excellent program. And through that, actually, I've got to know so many people that we have fantastic relationships now, which I never knew them before. Most of the women that have been on BIM Talks, they're part of our advisory board for Smiling Through Light. Other people they've had partnerships. So it's created so much stuff. But because of obviously COVID, and it's a very networking type event, I've had to put it on hold for now. So I'm hoping with Nabare, as you know, Nabare is the host for it, and we work together on it. So we're hoping next year we can start and kick it off again, because everyone in London, when you start in BIM Talks, there's Marwa who used to supply, Mariama Kamara, the soap connoisseur. So at the end of BIM Talks, we always used to give our panelists gifts from young Sierra Leonean entrepreneurs, and Marwa was like always, and now she's in Ghana trying to set up a soap manufacturing business there.
Okay.
Mariama, when are we starting BIM Talks again? I can help you from Ghana online and do every single thing. So it was just such a great place, you know, people like Alimatu, and just different ideas that people bring in and discuss, and you just learn. Like for me, I'm all about learning, and I know a lot of the young people that used to, you know, attended all the programs, learned so much and just developed really great connections.
There are times when I actually felt a bit jealous because you feel you're in the midst of so many women and you're just possibly one or two guys around, and you feel like, oh, why can't we just participate? Because again, the community is full of people who have creative ideas, and there are times where you don't need to limit those ideas just to women. But again, if it's a man that was doing that, you guys will be complaining. Oh, not to forget Bokuma and no woman another day. But anyway, that's just something for another discussion. But let's leave that. Now, I know Smiling Through Light is something that you're very much passionate about. How did you start up that initiative to say, I want to think about something that will create electricity, that will be another cheap device for people in Sierra Leone to be able to access light, especially for the kids who are going to school, because we know light is one of their biggest challenge in terms of learning and studying at night. So how did you get up to start with that sort of initiative to go into solar system of Smiling Through Light?
Yeah, I think that's great. And like most of the talks today, I was on, as you all know, we're hearing all about COP26 that's going to be held in Glasgow. So the UN are doing loads of things. And so we had a meeting today because they have a high panel meeting on the 26th of this month, where we're now doing stuff that's called Energy Compact Agreements. So really action-based road mapping exactly how we want to achieve the SDGs, especially SDG 7, by 2030, and also getting to net zero by 2050. So a lot of work. And one thing I said, because they were asking, and they always ask this question, in life, I just believe, like, even with Smiling Through Light, even with BIM Talks, and I see loads of initiatives, don't try and make something so complicated. Like, when I think about electricity and it's huge, and then I think about what Smiling Through Light does as a solution, it's so simple. And you know, people saw the video. For me, one of the key things that drives me is that if I go to any village in Lonsau and I sit and have a conversation with a 90-year-old woman or man, an older person, or a 5-year-old child, and they ask me, oh, Mariama, what do you do? And I can explain to them in simple terms what Smiling Through Light does. Okay. And they do it. For me, it means like what we're doing is ace. So Smiling Through Light, like I said, really simple. I grew up here, left because of the war in '92. But my heart, even if you ask my parents, I think when the war finished, the first thing I said, I was like, I'm going back to Sierra Leone. And my mom, because it's only me and my sister, she said, no, you can't go. You don't know how things are at the moment. Wait a while. So I think my first trip after was in 2006. I arrived at the airport and I went straight to my primary school. I used to go to Meriwether preparatory school. And Meriwether was completely destroyed. And I remember just standing there crying because during those times when I was in Sierra Leone, my childhood was just excellent. I was so happy growing up there. You know, I used to go to a very good school. I never even thought I would ever live in the UK or the US because everything was in Sierra Leone, you know, right. All your friends, good food, good education, you play, Sundays, you're all at the beach. It was just so much fun. But I came back and I decided like every year I would go to Sierra Leone. So from 2006, I've actually been going to Sierra Leone back and forth, not for work, but sometimes just Easter holidays or Christmas, because I really wanted actually to be connected to the country. I didn't want to live in London and just forget like my culture, or where I was born or where I was, you know, or not grew up, but where all like my beginnings started really. And then in 2008, DFID, which is the Department for International Development in the UK, started something called Diaspora Volunteering. And I know on the programs you guys talk about brain drain a lot. So all the skills that's left the continent, you know, everyone's abroad, a lot of skilled professionals are here. So they wanted people in different sectors to go back on the continent to work on specific projects. But within that time, I was working on HIV programs. So I went on a trip to Ghana, I went to Kenya, and in 2011, a trip came up for Sierra Leone. So I simply went there. It was to develop a sexual and reproductive health curriculum with UNICEF and Restless Development. After the war, we all know the literacy levels are quite high in Sierra Leone. So the curriculum that we done, we had to change it into role play. That role play now got me traveling to different places in the country. So I remember we went to Bo, Potloko, Cambia, Lonsar, Lunge, like just so many different places. And literally everywhere I went, I just saw people using kerosene lamps. Yeah. So it was either a baby lamp, kerosene lamp, or candles. And it was quite unbelievable because, you know, it's 2011. And I was thinking, like, I was born in Sierra Leone when we were kids. We also used to use kerosene lamps. We've seen people use it. So for me, it was quite like a shock to think, why would we be using kerosene lamps at this particular time? Like, it's the 21st century. And just basically, I remember I came back to Freetown, and Comic Relief, that time, they just implemented, I think, the Domestic Violence Act. So they were doing loads of work around that in terms of working with women. So I asked them if I could speak to some of the women in Kube. So they said, yeah, they organized like focus groups. And we just went, like, we sat just to have a conversation. And I was asking them, what's your life situation like? Are you connected to the grid? What do you use? Do you know about solar? At that particular time, people have heard about it, but most people haven't seen a solar product. And that was 2011. And then I just thought, because the stories, I think stories are so powerful. As you know, like, I do a lot of work with Yusuf Jallo, Our Footprint, because I find like stories are so powerful. And the stories, the women, and just the general community in Kube we're talking about, you know, they would wake up. Imagine a typical household will probably have 9 people. You have one kerosene lamp, you're inhaling like your CO2, their room is just in complete darkness. So people were telling you the effects of it. What they knew was obviously all the problems, but they didn't have a solution to that particular problem because this is what they're used to. And which is obviously fine, but you have to think, okay, how can I change that with the help of that particular community? I think is really important. And I finished my trip and came back to London. But it was just something I remember when I used to go to work, I had this notepad and my book, I would note. It just stuck to me. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do something about this.
So do you actually feel a bit of sympathy for the people that you met in the provincial towns that you visited in your role play scenarios, and you realize that they are suffering a lot because they're not able to get electricity? And is it because some of the things that they were doing were not done properly because of the struggle with electricity? Or you just realize, oh, I need to change this concept because I think people should now be thinking about better solution in terms of electricity, not back in those old days where we used to use kerosene, bembe lamp, candle, and all the rest. And again, that has caused a lot of danger to so many people in their houses in terms of fire disasters. So what's in that drive? Was it out of empathy, or you felt a bit disappointed that we are still backward, even though we are in the 21st century?
Yeah, I think it wasn't sympathy for me, because when you had the discussions, people knew the effect of using kerosene. So I was more empathetic. I understood what was happening there and there. So for them, they could tell you like, oh, you know, if I use kerosene, if I let fire inhale ham, I can cough, na thick black snot, while blow me nose, na thick black snot, let me also if I paint and white, where then cap this kerosene, the smoke go there, all side go turn black. So people knew the kind of effect. They just didn't know how can we move, like how do we change something like this? They obviously also knew they could be connected to the grid, but the grid obviously it's quite expensive for them. So for me, it was more having an understanding and obviously just seeing the dangers related to using kerosene. So I remember like when we first started, not only myself, there's a lady actually, I hope she's joined. Her name's Aminata Dumbuya. She's in Sierra Leone and she's been like one of the, like I would say, women at the forefront of this energy work in Sierra Leone, but she's doing more policy work and obviously we're more implementers. So there's people like Her Barefoot Women. I've always spoken about them. They've been around for years as well. It's just like a lot of local organizations, and local like Sierra Leonean. But you know, we are not recognized because it's like, for us, you recognize more if you're like a Westerner compared to, say, a Sierra Leonean. But we have so many talented.
So are you saying there is less value to the amount of work that you guys are doing in Sierra Leone, even though what you're doing is making a lot of contribution towards development?
Yes. So for example, Aminata Dumbuya, say around I started stuff 2012, and I'm sure they were working on it, because I think the first big campaign, like all of us thought about, was how we start getting people not to use kerosene. And now we're really happy, because when you do go to Sierra Leone, there's not a lot of people using it. So there's been that big.
Not a lot of people. I think it's been totally out of use.
Yeah. So you don't see it.
I never remembered hearing the sound of people saying kerosene there. That's like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
So that has gone totally. I can't hear that anymore. And I've been to Sierra Leone back and forth for so many years. I would say for the past 15 years. And I've never heard that sound after 6 o'clock in the evening. Now the trend has changed. Instead of kerosene day, now it's something else. But anyway, let's go back to the creation of the solar system. How did you came about to return back to the UK and you start to implement how you need to put this together on a very cheap way so that people will be able to afford it?
So for me, like my background, I'm not an engineer or anything like that. So my background's in development studies. So that's what I've done, like programming. So I took like 2 years to learn about everything. So when I got back to London, I started researching. So I spent a whole year to just find out who is doing what, who are kind of like the key players in the field. Like I done this whole mapping exercise. I wanted to know who the manufacturers were, kind of what policy was at government level, UN level, what is everyone doing, who's doing this work, who's kind of leading the field at the moment. So I done this like mapping, then I started reaching out to them. I started emailing them to say, obviously I've learned about this issue, I'm trying to set up a business around it. And some of the companies who do very good solar products are actually based in Germany. So because I'm in London, it's easy for me to get a flight back, then. So I visited a couple of them. Like one of the first products we started using was Little Sun. So I remember I went to Germany, spent time with like in their manufacturing plant. Right. So I bought all the solar products. They showed me how they put it together. So just loads of different things. So I done that. And then I started now contacting different UN agencies to find out what was happening. Because at that particular times, we had the Millennium Development Goals, but now we have the sustainable ones, which energy is part of. So energy is SDG 7. So I knew then the UN were very much interested within energy access and trying, because it's such a huge global issue. It's not like just a Sierra Leone issue. It's a big global issue. So it was something that...
Before you get to the UN, was the initial start self-funded by yourself?
Yes.
Okay, continue.
Yeah. So we're smiling through like at the start, everything was like, because I was working, all my trips, traveling to Sierra Leone back and forth, doing all the pilot study. Yeah, it was self-funded. And I think that's the reality for a lot of entrepreneurs. When you do start your journey, you have to have that yourself finance, and most investors now, when we talk to, they want to see that because it shows your own commitment and determination to making your business grow. You can't be dependent on someone to say, oh, you come and help my business grow, and you don't want to put your own your own money into it. So you put your money, what did they say? Put your money where you belong. Exactly. So yes, I came back, I'd done that. Then I enrolled to do a program with the School for Social Entrepreneurs. I spent 8 months there just learning. I'm not also a business person as well. So there is an accelerator program. So you learn about different things, how you write a business plan, how do you set up a company in the UK, how do you register it, financial modeling, social media, so many things like social impact, because a lot of our work we do is on impacts. So I've done work with them for 8 months. And then when I finished, PwC and Linklaters were mentoring me then. So I approached PwC to sponsor our first pilot in 2014, which then I had like a solid business plan. I had a clear idea of what I wanted to do. I knew who we were going to get the first set of products from, and I knew they were like excellent, really good quality product.
Right.
And then went back to Sierra Leone now to test to see if my idea was if it was viable or not.
So I just want you to be aware of what you just said initially when you started the whole discussion. To end up where you are has a journey timeline, and the journey timeline is to do your research and make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. You understand the market, you understand the product, and you understand what you need to do to get to where you want to go. So, for example, you took about a couple of years to put all this together without even doing anything. It's just about research, preparing yourself, even taking further education, traveling to the countries where the manufacturers are actually based. That alone is what nothing more than enthusiastic self-esteem in yourself to be able to do all of that. So now that you've got the first product and you're taking it to Sierra Leone, what was the initial reaction of the people that you first met when you start to do your research about how or what they know about solar panels and all that stuff? What was their initial reaction towards you when you took the first product to Sierra Leone?
Yeah, so I remember that was 2014. I went back to Kubernetes, to this group of women. So this time it was more organized. So we done like, I think 4 different focus groups. I got like Sierra Leonean students as volunteers to help me with notes. And it was so funny because imagine I've been going to this really good school in the UK. I had this really fancy business plan. Everything was there. Then I went and presented it to the community and everyone was just like, now what's in this? I was like, it's my business plan.
You don't have to share for me.
Yeah. And they were like, what? We don't understand that. This is not how you market stuff for us. This is not how you communicate. Not to show you for sale. This salon, we let music, and totally ripped my business plan apart. Like they were like, no. Okay, this one, yes. The product they loved, but like I think how I intended on selling, how I intended on marketing, because you know Sierra Leone, even though we have a lot of informal traders, but a lot of people, they are business people, they understand sales, and I was literally, Tiba, I was just like, well, I've spent so long working on this. And that's like a key learning for me, and like anyone that wants to do business, your consumer has to be able to understand what you're doing and what you're about, and they have to be able to be a part of any type of process that you want to do. So for me, I tell people that before you start anything, even if you do a small pilot, go and test what you want to do. Just don't try and get into the market like that. Do a small group test, show people your product, let them give you feedback. If there's changes that you need to make, do them, and then you come back. So that was a good learning for me, and it's learning that helped. So from the video, you see all the work we do involves local communities. Because
so how did that change your mindset about how you look at things in Sierra Leone generally?
For me?
Yeah.
So for me, I spend a lot of time with our customers, to be quite honest. Most of my trips that I go, I do upline. I think they mean a proper, like, even though I'm city, but I mean an upline girl.
So you're not a fit on your sea girl, all right?
No.
So after you go back again to Krube, why did you specifically go to Krube now? Because you don't visit them before initially, so you want to do like a continuity going forward?
Yeah, because I thought, not even thought, they were part of our initial journey, and they were the people that I first spoke to say I was thinking about this. So our plans of working together, I wanted them to also give me input, because most of them I knew, they knew me, they knew what I was thinking. And Sierra Leone, most communities, yes, they're different, but you can actually try and replicate things within different areas. So they were just excellent, and not to advise you to go pay for. They salon people, like what I've known, once you're really genuine as a Sierra Leonean, they can see like you're genuine, what you want to do, and take from them, just want to go use them, and they can see it's genuine. They also play a part in it, then go help you. So like we've never had an issue. Once most of the women we work with, once we've given them notice, maybe a week or so say, oh, I can't talk to now, they're fine. And they're quite open to learn from us, and also for us to learn from them, which I think is important, because most people from the diaspora, and also it's kind of Western thing, we always go with some top-down approach. Oh, we sabi all thing, we know everything. You guys have to do stuff like this. But really, it should be that bottom up. The community you're working with should be telling you, this is not a problem. We think we can do it this way, but if you self get idea of how you think we can change them, that's fine. And we miss a lot of that.
So then be able to grab the concept of the first product and what's have been feedback towards you for make you feel to say yes, your first choice or your first option of what you decide for puts together is working.
Yeah. So that particular trip was more learning and testing. So took 100 products, and what we actually done was that, say for example, you're a customer, I gave the lamps, we had a price, then we gave pebbles, stones, and tin cup. Then we said, go petrol station for 1 month, just go buy your normal kerosene, just don't change your lifestyle, basically. Do what you do already. Use this, one stone will be 10,000 leons. At the end of the month, with a kami to now, you copy the show, because Sierra Leoneans were very visual, we're very visual people. So what I wanted the people in Kube that we were working with to understand that energy, solar, your initial investment, people might say it's expensive because it's like you're paying an upfront cost.
Yeah.
But in the long term, you save so much. So even now, we do obviously smaller systems, but if you look at people that's doing like big panel installations at home, their upfront cost is really expensive. But if you then calculate and look at it long term, you save much more. So we wanted people to understand that, like visually, for no say, okay, now this, and then when you see, you're like, now this amount of money I really they spent on kerosene or candle or whatever source they were using. And then you say, well, if you pay, so like our cheapest product is 80,000 leons. Then you say, well, if you pay 80,000 leons, the rest of the money, what would you do with it? Because we're a social business. I'm not like, we're making profit, but it's social. So you have to explain. So until you go and save some of the money, you want give extra education class for you picking them, you want to do osusu. So it's making people understand and see the benefits of why they're investing in a solar product. And for us, and even our agent, it's not one thing. We're not just there for sell. No. It's more people, yes, we're there to sell, but we want people to also understand why. And I think that's where a lot of local businesses would differ from a lot of the foreign companies and organizations, because they're definitely in for profit on a short-term basis, where we're there for profit learning, but on a longer term.
Okay, I just want to welcome Juma to the program, but before I bring Juma in, I just want to ask you, what are some of the challenges that you face on this first initial project where you take to Freetown? Because I know say you don't go through a lot in terms of learning from them and them also learning from you. But what are some of the challenges that you face with this product, and how are you able to manage the challenges that they also for make you able to think further for the next one?
So in terms of the product itself, so with energy, you have what's called an energy ladder. So I remember the first product, I think Tibo, you've seen them, the little son, the small cube. So they were quite small for people.
Right.
So that was a challenge. But the good thing is that's why even like our new systems we're testing now, we do like small tests. So thank God I only took like 100 with me. So even that you make a loss on it, you think, okay, even if you can get like 1,000, you might be a bit. So people actually wanted systems which were a bit bigger, because what was happening then, our competition then, shall I say, was kind of the Chinese lamps.
And
that were coming in. So people will use those, use battery panel, possibly maybe within a month, there's an issue. But because it's just like what they know, and you're trying to bring something new into the market. So there's that aspect of being patient with things. And so that was one. I think secondly, this thing you were talking about, the sector of energy is very male dominated, especially at that time. And then I was like in my 20s. So most meetings that we were going to, possibly 95% was just men. And, imagine going like Ministry of Energy, you've got older men, I'm like this young 20-year-old with this idea. And then they're looking at me like, Usa, you pull this kind of idea.
Yeah, Usa, you come up.
Yeah, Usa, you come on. Look where you are. Look where you're just like, what? And you're just like, no, I just can't for doing a meeting. But it's still this idea of, as a woman, you shouldn't actually run a business. Like, how dare you have this imagination for even think that you can do something like that. So that's really, really challenging, because these are kind of hard stereotypes, and we're not even working a lot in the capital. We're working in rural communities where, as we all know, it's like 10 times or even just completely worse. So
basically you're in the communities that they've kind of abandoned to some extent.
Yeah, and there, you know, what the men say goes. So you see small little me, and with our team, which all our agents, as you know, they're all women, we're trying to do something within the community. So for them, it's just something like, it's something they're not used to. So that was very challenging. I think also finance is very challenging, not only for me. I'm in the UK, so I always think like, if I think of like Barefoot Women who are based, these are like local organizations in Sierra Leone. If I find it difficult to raise finance, I wonder what it's like for them to, you know, be raising finance to support, because like Smiling Through Life, we're not government funded. We've never been government funded. We have like more relationship with the government of Sierra Leone in terms of learning, data sharing, but like one day they've never given us even 10,000 leones. And that's something we actively decided to do. We wanted to be a business and run as a business where you go and look for investment, you get your own money in, and share learning with the government, which I think in our experience has worked really, really well. During that period is when Ebola happened.
Before I come to Ebola, let me think about it, because I know Ebola has a very massive impact in the product itself, because it means connecting people together becomes very impossible. And how do you relate, or how do you link yourself up with the clients and the people who you are actually going to market to? But let me bring Juma in and welcome him to the program and making safe kind of most forward to the part. Welcome, Juma.
Thank you, T-Boy. Hello, everyone. Hi, Mariama.
Hi, Juma.
Good to have you here, since you've been like, you know, been chasing you for months to come back, but you know, finally you are here, and we're happy to have you. You sharing the success stories of Smiling Through Life, the impact you're creating, and sharing with us some of the challenges. We're really, really happy to have you. And I'm sure a lot of our colleagues in the diaspora, this might serve as a motivation for them that you can start small and create impact wherever you want to create that impact in Sierra Leone, in whatever sector or interest area. So I don't listen to the program. You don't highlight for where a lot of the need behind, the idea waiting motivate you, and you've highlighted a lot about the intervention we don't, do, where they see over time. I want to take you back a bit, if you don't mind. And the reason for this is sometimes we can assume, say, we all aware of the issue or the problem, but not necessarily the case. So I just want to let you paint a small picture for where the actual need, because you've been to, the rural communities where they off-grid, where sometime in the next 20, 30 years, even if they pump all kind of millions, will never, ever have the opportunity to be connected to the grid. Just explain to in terms of data points, how many, the impact of which they do this intervention, why it necessary, the need, how people let it suffer, with the electricity issue in the country there.
Yeah, and that's really
if you don't mind.
No, that's fine. I think T-Boy was going to get to that because I wanted to. So I was explaining to T-Boy that even though we're doing work in Sierra Leone, our long term is to work throughout the continent, but you have to start at home because it's not just a Sierra Leone issue. Okay. This is a global issue. So as of today, if we're looking at data points, it's 789 million people globally that do not have access to electricity. So in Sub-Saharan Africa is 600 million people. So that's about 60% of it. So within our region, that's where the big problem is. And then when we look down at Sierra Leone with our population of 7, when I started, our energy access was around 9%. 10, then last couple of years, it was about 13% because people are doing work now. Now we're 26%. with people who do not have access, but in rural communities, it's less than 6%. So, and I've seen like the effects of energy and what causes it. I think Sierra Leone is, a couple of years ago, things were, it wasn't perfect, but there was policy in place because they signed the Energy Compact Agreement in 2016. And a lot of these new interventions, once they start, you need policy, you need government to take that leadership. And basically people like ourselves, we follow and implement. So that happened in 2016. The Energy Compact Agreement was signed. The government made 4 active commitments. One of the commitments was to light up 1 million homes by 2020. The second one was to remove VAT and duty waiver on solar products coming into the country. So to just have like an enabling environment. The third, to set up the Renewable Energy Association of Sierra Leone, which is a membership association, which is very active and functional now. We have about 35 members there. So you can work in solar, wind, bio, hydro. So it's private, you pay a yearly membership fee, and they do loads of networking events, meet and greet, and different things. And then a lot of training events that the government, so that was like government step that needed to actually happen in Sierra Leone, because at that particular time, nobody was interested in renewables. So Aminata Doumbouya that I was talking about, she was running a campaign and she was the country head for Sierra Leone. The campaign was called Power for All. And it was a global campaign which DFID said, and she was leading that work in Sierra Leone on that kind of policy level pushing, I think from like 2013 or so. And 2016 October, the government signed and opened this field. So the journey is not only about kind of the product. I sometimes feel like you can do business, but on the initial stages, you start doing policy work because you need government to set. You need to have the idea for you to be able to work to get in. So the issue is enormous. It's not a big issue. And for me, Juma, like my dream is like all of us, you in the US, us here in the UK, like when I come home, I'll be able to put my switch on and I have lights. That's my ultimate dream for Sierra Leone, for all of us like Sierra Leoneans to be able to achieve that. But at the moment, that's not happening. So what you need to have is something that's really a good solution that people can be using until we obviously support the government with them listening to us to get to that particular position.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much on that. I'm just going to follow up before I hand back to over to T-Boy. So you mentioned you've done a lot of work in Lone Star and Kamakwe, correct? So how many homes you don't bring smile to through light?
Okay, so that's good. So that's now you look at impact. So in terms of our impact, like our key thing, because Smiling Through Light, when you look at our business model, it's very simple. So one, in terms of the 4 steps we have, the first set is that we source very good quality products. So I spoke about like my journey of going to Germany, because we just used to find, like, it was like Sierra Leone was like this waste dump market, like most African countries. People just come with products, Chinese stuff, dump it. So that's why when the energy, like the compact agreement was signed, for your products to, and for you to get the duty waiver, you have to pass a program by Lightning Africa and World Bank. It's an IFC World Bank program called Lightning Africa, where they test all the different manufacturers and they take a list. You know, they can improve it, but at least it's a start where it's verified. So once you get to Sierra Leone, before you clear all your products, you need to have all that certification. They need to see all of that. So that's another like really great thing to know that consumers people are getting good quality and product. So for us, it's a key thing for us. So that's step one. We would source, we do loads of different things, tenders, talk to the manufacturers, we can visit them, test. What's there? For me, I want to know, what's your interest in Sierra Leone? Like, why do you want to come and do business there? Is it, obviously most people want to make money, but I also am interested, would you train people? Would you train us? Would we learn from it? So once we've done that, the second step is that we would purchase the product and then we'll put a margin on it. So we'll do a markup. We would obviously ship to Sierra Leone. We have our head office in Freetown where we store all the products and then we'll dispatch them to our different hubs, like you said, in Lone Star and in Kamakwe. And then the third steps are female agents. They would sell, they go out into the communities and sell, and people could also come to our shop. And then the fourth is that the community obviously benefits overall. So in terms of your question, in terms of impact, to date, like when we start today, we've created over 12 jobs. So creating employment in Sierra Leone.
Sustainable ones too, because over time, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And in Sierra Leone, it's so amazing that most of our female agents, this is like another big challenge. I remember when we started, they didn't have bank accounts. Didn't have NASIP numbers, because obviously we have to pay NI contribution. And it was so amazing that when we asked some of them, I remember I asked, do you guys have bank accounts? Yeah, we all get bank accounts. So I was happy, like, oh God, we don't need to go through that process. Then they all came with their husband's bank accounts. They're like, we sell we sell for pay. I'm like, we can't do that. We'll help you set up a bank account. We'll pay your monthly salary. If you decide to take your salary, that's up to you. So what's been good, we've been able to have like partnerships with the banks, and we bank with UBA, but with GT Bank, Sierra Leone Commercial Bank. So it's easier for our staff to set up accounts. And also one of our staff member, Olda, who's been very good as an administrator, she also helps them to get their NASIT done. So that's one. In terms of products, so when we look at our sales, we've sold over 850 products. So in terms of impact, that's reaching over 7,308 people. So we calculate our impact. When you look at the Sierra Leone census, it says a typical household would have about 9 people. So you would say one solar product calculated by that shows how many people are having access to light. With the video, you see we do a lot of community training with Yusuf Jallo on our storytelling. So we must have storytelling trained over 1,000 people, like in Lonsar, we've done work in Kamakwe, of course, Tombo, and just different places using drums, using the stories Mr. Jallo has developed. And now just like really great partnerships where it's just really proud. Like one thing I'm so proud about is that Smiling Through Light is really a local business. Like from myself being the founder to like all our team, even like all the work we do, the video you saw, like Vicky and her team put the video together. We worked with Mr. Jallo. So everything we do, or I try to do, is the vision is we sell Sierra Leone as we're Sierra Leoneans doing it. So even in the UK, most people, they know that. And just kind of like more strategic partnerships that we have, like for me now and even our agents, we have an opportunity to speak at places where we wouldn't have been able to speak at before. For you to have that voice within your community, I think it's quite an empowering thing.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mariama. Well, family, we listen. This is Mariama Kamara, the director for Smiling Through Light, where they try for Light Up Sierra Leone, and in the process, solve a lot of other issues or create opportunities, because when you light the home, the picking them go able for study. So then we're able for concentrate and pass them school exams. They're not get for born, they host them if they use kerosene or candle. Not also T-boy.
Not so it look like.
All right. Well, and then the woman then say go able for go begin cut wood and because some of the homes people don't even understand that they're not even able. The lamp when the shade lamp now luxury for some people now the only assets that we then get. Yep. So many homes stay where they get for go cut wood, come set fire aside, middle the house for do things for light the house as well as let it place warm for people them. So you see the problem them, where it on they solve along the way. Over to you, T-Boy.
Well, I think it's not just about solving electricity problem, but I think you're also empowering women in different ways, in different forms. So I want to ask you, you've been going back and forth to Freetown, and after the first small son where you started with, the second product where I see you come, now the one we get the stand with the product, they actually begin to up now. And it's like you're moving from one platform to the next. So tell us about that particular product there and how well it's doing at the market, because I know you now have a third product, but let's talk about the second one and actually see what's have been the outcome of the second product and how people then take them on.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think it just goes back to the point we're talking about. Like for me, I think one thing that's been a success for us and anyone that knows how we work, we haven't been like Wo can swim or no sabi waka. So for me, I'm very cautious about taking my time. Like, I'm a very patient person. Like, I have to
baby steps.
Yeah, you have to take baby steps. I'm not gonna jump big, act big, and do big things when we don't even understand the small nitty-bitty stuff. So I think that's like really important, and for us, that's really helped us. So within energy, you have what's called an energy ladder. So me, obviously working across the continent, but a big like dream for me, and this is like where with the team we're slowly going, is for us to have our own manufacturing plant in Sierra Leone, because I'm thinking how we create jobs. So I've thought about, like, for example, Kelvin Doe, you know, some of our young innovators that could design a product for us, and we can do like assembly, because we have people in Sierra Leone that can do that. So that's a big thing. But for us to obviously get to that stage, we just have to understand, like now what we're doing now, understanding how products work, what products are really good, what do people like. And as we're doing that, we're building our consumer base, who would be the people that will be able to tell us how that manufacturing plant is going to work. So yeah, we started with a smaller product, and they were too small. So people were like, oh, their products, they are small. Let's test some like different sizes. So we came in with 3 different sizes, like T-Boy was saying. So the smaller one, we were working with a company called Greenlight Planet. So we had what's called a Pico Plus that we were selling at 80,000. The Pro 200, that was 250. And then also the Pro 400, that was 400,000. So the last 2, they have 2 functions. They provide light and also mobile phone charging unit. Because what we were finding from customers was that mobile technology, you know, we obviously leapfrog and leap jump. So people were asking us, oh, do some of your products charge phones? So when the first ones, they didn't, we were like, okay, let's try and introduce products that would actually provide light, but also be able to charge people's phones. So that's basically how we got to the second one. And that was through a lot of community, like focus groups, talking to the customers that use them, asking them how they felt the products were. And they were like, well, no, they're too small. They want something bigger. So the 3 sizes that we had with different prices was quite good to target different people. So you don't include, you know, you're not excluding anyone. Everyone can be quite inclusive in what you're basically doing.
So now let's go to Ebola. I know we wanted to talk about Ebola earlier on, but I said let's come to something to do with something else before we come to Ebola. I know Ebola creates a lot of negative impact on the product and on the business itself, because I think it was about time for that product to actually shoot up to a large extent, and then Ebola struck. How did you deal with that particular situation then?
Yeah, so Ebola, actually, when Ebola was happening, it's sometimes so weird, because when you're in Sierra Leone and something's happening, you actually don't know.
Yeah.
So I remember I was in Kube, I didn't know, like there was obviously this, because it was quite big in the West, with like the media and everything. I think it's when I came back, I realized like, oh my goodness, like something huge like this was.
You were in deep hell.
Exactly. And we were always around like communities with different people, and but I sometimes think like when there's something happening, you have to use it as an opportunity. So for me, it was an opportunity to get the diaspora involved, because I realized at that point, I'd kind of engaged the Sierra Leone community, like I kind of understood what people were looking for, but I knew support was here in the diaspora. Like the diaspora, they're such big contributors. So then I started now talking about.
Mariama, you have to say that again, because people are actually looking down on us. Say that again with some kind
of. The diaspora guys, they play so much, like an amazing role. Let's not even think about remittances. When you look at remittances, I remember when I was working in development, we send much more money home than even the foreign aid that we get.
Right.
So that's like one big thing. The amount of people over the last couple of years that I've seen going and opening businesses. And Juma was saying earlier on, most of us are not going because I don't even know. Like for me, I've been in London since I was 9. I don't have there's no need for me to go back to Sierra Leone only for holiday to say, stop working. Like I stopped working my job to work on Smiling Through like full time. That's like a big risk. And to go, but people are doing it because of love of country. There's passion. We want to help the country and to develop. And for us all just to work together, I think it's like important. So diaspora, they play such a big, like a tremendous role, and they've been for us like Smiling Through Light, so supportive. And sometimes it's not just financial support, because there are people here in the diaspora who are, maybe they've had bad experiences. They don't necessarily need to want to go back, and that's fine, but they want to support in some way. So I know people here that give us support in terms of their skills, their knowledge, their expertise, like who you can learn so much stuff on, like our advisory board. Most of the people that we have there, that's Sierra Leonean, there's no intention of them saying, we want to go back and set up something. But the skills that we have, we can help what you're doing to grow. So that's really key. And also, obviously, financially, they can support, like we see on GoFundMe programs, a lot of the charities that we have here, we see how the diaspora contribute. So I knew like I wanted to tap into the diaspora, and it was quite amazing because when I started talking about the issue, most people were like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. Because why? When we go back, if we don't have light, we put the generator on because you can afford it. So you don't know there's this bigger issue. So that was like for a lot of my friends, they were just like, no, are you kidding? I was like, no. And you start talking, showing them the data. And now the UN was obviously talking about it. So there was a lot of kind of not noise, but people were being mobilized and coming together. So I used that opportunity to get the diaspora on board. And then also, I knew actively if we were going to try to push the Sierra Leone government, I had to do some work with ICRI. So that's ECOWAS's energy program, and also Sustainable Energy for All. They look after the SDG 7. So I had to try and find my way onto one of their programs. So, and that was just through networks, just people I knew, getting in contact with them, and then they introduced me. And then finally, like up to now, we do lots of work with them. So sometimes in bad times, you just, even though it's bad and it really slowed us down, but it was an opportunity to help us get to another place.
So basically you use the crisis of Ebola to be able to network to more people and expand your knowledge in terms of learning and knowing and researching. Okay.
Yeah, and that's when we started BIM Talks as well.
Okay, I remember because we just came back from Freetown equally the same time because I knew you were there and I was there as well. Okay, that's good. Okay, Juma, you were about to say something just now.
Yes, one for, but before I ask me question, I want Congo T-Boy small.
Juma, I want to say something. You see T-Boy outfit yesterday?
I did with the third eye and everything. Yeah. So I remember the first time where T-Boy talked about, oh, I'm helping someone with BIM Talks, you know, and then it gets this. So he show me that small thing we talk about. Yeah. He said, "Now this," he said, "Oh, Juma," I say, "One picking day." He said, "One picking."
You see, that's what they say.
Yeah, he said one picking the way. Yeah, he said one picking the way one follow we interview now this. I said, who's speaking? He said, oh, he said they do this kind of thing. I said, okay. Now he send me your resume. I was like, okay. And he said he want go salon. I looked at the resume and he don't call you picking. I'm like, she has, you know, boundless opportunities outside that she can just jump on and, you know, grow. I'm like, I didn't think now, why does this one small picky one go back na salon? But now I don't understand, say, you know, no place like home, you have to have that connection. So I've been they wait for the right time for Congo T-Boy. Say, wait, introduce to me. They say one
picky. True, I told you, that's what they say, small picking. And then also, that's what I was saying, Juma, like with people, it's your heart that drives. Like my family, I remember when I started everything, my mom, especially, you know, like mom, and while I was doing BIM Talks, she was just like, hey, Mariama, we don't bring you Kaya, you for better opportunity, you get good job. Because I remember there when I was doing like my HIV work, I used to travel, you know, we were doing advocacy stuff in the US, doing stuff like my job was really good for
I saw your CV. I was like, why does she want to leave this and go to Sierra Leone? Because I know this challenge where we will come on, they will teach them don't complete self the face, you know, let alone, you know, young lady going out there that they're gonna eat her alive, you know. But you know, you stood your ground. So I
was saying, I remember when I told her I was gonna quit my job. To just focus on Smiling Full. I think she nearly fainted.
I would not surprise.
Waiting do you? Like,
Yeah.
Waiting do you?
You cannot call family meeting by you.
Exactly. And then the time, like my mom realized the second set of products when we bought them, I remember they delivered them at home and I was home then. So I told her, she said, oh, now what's in this now? You and this you team, blah, blah. I said, don't worry. So I told her, let's turn off all the light in the whole house. And she was in the living room. Then I took one of the lights out of the box. Then I put the light on and her face just literally lit. And that's the moment like my mom understood like what I was trying to do. Right. And then since then, like my family's been 100% behind me.
And just like you stated, we are visual people. We have to see. Seeing is believing. So la ask, whose term where you actually team up, you say, no, this is not for me. I'm gonna quit. I made a bad decision here. Was there a time?
When I'm broke, I felt like I was always broke. I was doing this interview and I was just like, because Smiling to Life, I've been doing it since I was 20, in my 20s. I had like a really very good job, like, and I was at home. So all my money, obviously I would save. I used to travel, even if I travel for work would pay. So you have sustained, amount of money, which I was saying to Tibo at the start, I was able to invest some of my own personal money into it. So when I then decided, because my work was getting a lot, and I really want Smiling to Light to grow to be like really a global brand. Like and I know for me to do that, I have to put in that time and not give up, but understand like now things might be difficult, it's hard. But for me, I see things like in the next 5 years, I'm much more long-term thinking than more my problems now. So times when I don't have money, there will be times like even if I was at home, I'd have like £1. I used to have so much money, I don't have anything now. So that's really hard. Or when you go to Sierra Leone and there's just so much stress. I never have stress with the community. I think I always have stress with the government. I always have stress with Wataki. Like Wataki is like my demon. It's like, that place there, every day I go down there, I get for cry. Like I'll cry for days. So then I can sit down there. Even this trip, before I got clear, I saw Voss, like instead of bingo. So I felt like, I think I gave Voss a big hug because
a relief hug.
Yeah, a relief hug for not like somebody instead of where they are, like he knows me. Because I was so stressed. And that time I've been getting for dress, like some bad man dress, white dress. So sometimes I can normally, so I wear leggings, black leggings, with black crepe, black jumper with my hood. They'll be wearing me black shade. I was like, I did go meet them people there. Yeah. And after I sit down, I cry. Now we put me eye back. Now go back. I go meet them. Oh my! So what I keep always I want to quit. Oh, like it's the worst place.
And you see the importance of sharing some of these, real stories. Now, for let people understand, because like you say, the contribution of the diaspora is beyond remittances. You sacrifice everything to go back, not focusing on profit. It's a social enterprise model. Whatever you get, you put it back into the community some way, somehow. And then you have all these roadblocks from government institutions we're supposed to make them easy for you for you able to reach more people, because the time first way they go Wataki back and forth, you can use that time to engage so many communities for do more work. And this is the reason why it's off-putting for a lot of diasporans them we want go. We don't see somebody we go lose $3 million in Sierra Leone of their money. Yes. Their money, where they can use that money, they make them 10 times in 1 year at the United States.
You might not bring that person they come to research.
Well, the person invested in Sierra Leone $3 million United States dollars of that money. So it is tough, but you not give up. That's the beauty of it.
I think you can't give up. Like if you believe in your stuff, like you really just can't. Because I definitely do understand that it's a time, and what basically happened this trip was before clearing your product, like I used to clear my product.
Okay.
Myself, because there was a process. But this is the thing, like when you have government and there's change, there's certain places, there's certain policy, you need to just continue with it, especially if it works. Like I think for effective government, when you come in, if something is not working and you tested it, you understand this is not working, let me change that. But if something's working, you have to keep it going. Yeah, don't start. So what happened in this particular instant when I went, the clearing of our products was easy. I knew when I got there, I'd write, the association would help me, send them a letter, we go to Standard Bureau, we pay 500,000 because that's when they do all the checks, checking the certificates, they'll come check all your product, you go down to NRA with this letter that's signed, stamped. There's a law. This Notolec, it's in our Finance Act, it's passed, it's law, it's now been implemented. So people know. NRA, they'll go to customs, you get the head, they sign, you go see the deputy, then sign, you go, they calculate what you're meant to pay based, then give you, you go pay.
That was the process then?
Yeah, you clear your goods. So within a week, you can get it done. Because the bad thing for Watakida demurrage,
yeah,
is because obviously you've got your leeway period. So most people that's obviously shipping stuff, they understand that. So you want to try and get your goods out as quickly as possible. And for us with the product, so once we're even ordering, we've started the process already to write. I know the administrator for rehearsal. We have a WhatsApp group. We've got emails, they know. So you can already contact them to start putting things in order for you. But then this trip when I went, everything, I didn't even know what was going on. Like everything, they were telling me I had to go to the Ministry of Finance. And I was like, why do I need to go to Ministry of Finance? Ministry of Finance, it's an act. We don't need to do anything else. It's an act, it's there. What does Ministry, I don't know what Ministry of Finance. Then there's a new another organization that's been opened. So now we were paying two sets of fees, paying to this new organization, paying to the Standards Bureau. Then we made a mistake because this new organization, it's like they're doing all the scanning now. It's where you should go first, pay. Because even I was asking them, I know why I need to pay Standards Bureau, but I don't understand why I have to pay you. And there was no explanation given. It's like, oh, no, you get to pay 500,000, but for what? If I know why, I don't mind paying, but you have to, like, I know when I go to Standards Bureau, I'm paying because they have to do the certification. They have to send one of their staff to check all our products, check all the certificates to make sure they meet the standards before they actually can give us the go-ahead to say, yes, they've passed the quality assurance side of it, they can get their products. But the other one, I was just really confused. And then the agent, because everything was so bad now, I said, let me get an agent. And this is now how salon people were so horrible to each other. And I think if I never understood the process, or if I didn't know about the energy, like rehearsal, this association, or if I didn't know about people in the sector who I spoke to, it would just be a complete mess. This agent, Juma, Serenian lady, I think say like the last day, I'm quite nice and patient. Where he see me face the last day now I go take me good. It just shift, some kind shift, go sit down small one corner. It pass me. I'm thinking, why is this thing taking long? Even like my staff, like us, I'm a project coordinator, so I was like, I don't know why this thing takes so long. I said, I don't know. Wait till now, man, they do. Night first guy can't give me some big bill, like send me a full person.
Mariama, is it because you're diaspora or it's just a system?
No, I think because she thought I was from the diaspora, maybe I didn't know. Yes. Me forget and 10 million. I said 10 million to, oh, you know, say you get for pay this, do. I said, no, we don't do that. Like, we have our staff, and we, as a business, we're not into all of that. We don't do all of that. So it's because I refused, because even though Wataki, then they tell you, if you know and play the game, just ready for make sure say you things then they don't Wataki for a very long time. So it's one of those things. So if you're someone who's up for say, you know what, Timmy, I'm not able to take the stress. Yeah, you small thing, clear me thing, let me go, I'm fine. Yeah, then you're fine. But if you're someone who you're like, no, we go and change the country, we shouldn't be doing this, your life is gonna be hell. So you get for make that decision there. And I even remember there was a point when I was schooling like London and I was really upset. They were like, why make you not just pay them way, then give you things? I'm like, no, because we have to set those standards.
Yeah.
How often would I be going and paying? We don't even get that. It was a small business, paying to get my stuff released. When I know there's a law which protects me and helps me as a small solo company for say I can get my stuff for free. And then that shows salon people in bad because they also know that.
So it's kind of frustrating because you don't have time in your hands. You know, you get a lot for lose. They like put you in a corner wherein you're not, you know, you get for succumb if you're not able to stand your ground, kind of. But you showed in the Southeast and East London style.
Exactly.
You know, with Eugene and everything.
Oh my God, that thing was awful. Yeah, fighting. And then you know the age at the end thing where he don't do everything bad, because there was a week I was like, you know, I said to Sal, I'm gonna get involved. So this new place, I call him, I was like, what's going on with our stuff? Because now I got rehearsal also to go away. Like it's taking, like this time it's like a month. Huh?
Wow.
It don't take too long. So the guy now call her, I say, as you they open your office 8:30, me say I can work with you today. Before I was joking, 8:30, I saw they now the office do much, they wait for her. As they open me, I say, please, can you do our paperwork? Within 10 minutes, Juma, they don't do it. I don't get it because they know it's just like we're just so wicked to each other and just so horrible. I accommodate and say, oh, you get to go pay this fee. I pay the fee, go down, Wataki, go talk to them. It's just like we're just bad to each other. Like this is the thing that really upsets me more than anything. Why? Even one of them, I was just like, me as young salon person really tired. Now you for they even guide me and even say to me, oh Mariama, you know, we don't change this small. This is like now in NRA. But if you do this, why I send you go to this person quick do so you goods then go come out and I don't get for pay the mortgage. That's what you'd expect to be happening. But they don't do that. Instead they'll just make you suffer.
Wow.
So going through all that process, how you feel about the process and how you feel to say, because like what you don't say so is like a piece of advice to people who are actually doing business in Sweden from the diaspora, because it's not like a first-hand information where you don't share, and I feel the people then for learn from some of the issues then where you don't face so that they're not able to face same kind of issue. But what's in that you don't take overall in terms of going through all that process, and you think that process is definitely different from the previous process, and how you feel about it now?
Oh yeah, no, it's completely different, because when I was there, there's this organization called Africa Tech, and they do policy stuff. So one thing they've had a lot of complaint about is clearing of goods. It's a big issue, not only for me as like for us doing solar, yeah, you get the waiver, but even like we've seen what's been happening there. Like for us, it's because you need to know your rights. Like I know my rights. I know as a solar business what we have rights to, what we're entitled to. The association's there to support us. Sierra Leone Bureau is there, the chambers. They've got some very active members there. So you need to know all these different information. Who's in your sector? Who is doing what? Who do you go and talk to? So for me, because I knew, imagine if I didn't. If I didn't know, it'd be a mess. And hence why you have to be patient to learn about all these different things. You just don't go in and think it's just going to work like that. So they were doing some consultations, asking solar companies about the same thing. And everyone is, it's a difficult process, something that shouldn't really take that long. So I know they're going to release a report about that. And one thing I did suggest was like, can they do like just a step-to-step manual guidance just for everyone? When you arrive, let rehearsal just keep it, you go and pick it. So you know, step 1, that you get for go pay. Step 2, that this you get for you. Step 3, you get the letter. Step 4, you pay Standards Bureau. So at least it's stepped out. And then it's fine. If they want someone else comes and they want to change it, it's up to them. But I feel the process got affected because it wasn't continued when it was already doing fine.
Please tell them we'll be happy to host them on a program to discuss that if possible.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Aminata is doing that. So you guys should definitely get her on.
Okay, well, I've offered her for me, please. A quick one. Now we don't talk about the diaspora. I want to follow continue on that part. They would on. So diaspora, Minaya, come on, I'm a village. You know, Tibo, what's our village again? Huh?
Mion or Yon?
We village. All right, we come on our village, me and T-boy. we know they way, you know, off the grid. One for lights, we host them day, and or we community host there, we mosque, you know, we church, we school even term for the picking them for class, you know, the court barrier for the chief, so the chief self know in a dark. So because we they talk about prices. I know say those prices changes, right? But at least a guide. Say if me and T-Boy gets $1,000 right now, we call, hey, hello, Smiling Two Lights. Almost unable for do for we for $1,000 or $2,000 for light up we community. Is that something possible? Because some homes they want for them, some community want for them. It's a way where I think say possibly the diaspora then say being can help. You know, where you don't need to go out there and go buy generator for them. You know, you can do through Smiling Through Light. So I just want to know if that's something that you do.
Well, that's a new business model compared to what we do now. So when I was in Sierra Leone this trip, we were testing it because GIZ, they do a lot, you know, the Germans, they do a lot of work there. So we had a week of technical training. And I went to this training. This is also another thing. And I met so many amazing Sierra Leonean technicians, young technicians. These are the people that do a lot of the installations. And, you know, this is the thing we said, we don't celebrate ourselves. I just don't understand why. And the technicians were saying, so a typical job that you're talking about. So something like that, which we don't do because obviously we're selling smaller units. But it's something I definitely want to test because now I've met technicians who do it. And it's easy. So, for example, the example you're giving, you and T-Boy have a school you want to contribute towards and help this school. So the first part will be the technicians go in, then they will do like kind of a feasibility look. If it's a house, they would go and see what's the appliances in the house. They'll sit with you and say, okay, if you get a solar, what do you want the solar to light? So you tell them my light, you know, my fridge, my AC, fan, or whatever. Then they'll calculate and say, okay, this is what you want. And then they give you a package. So that's a complete different business model to what we're doing now. And it'd be something that I'm definitely interested in. So the technicians I met, so even when I was there this trip, we'd done that at one house, which we wanted to do a pilot on. And one of them was saying, compared to say, if someone from the West comes and they do all the work, they will pay them like $100. When the person that comes from the West, you're looking, they will get like $1,000 or so. It's unbelievable. Wow. So I just always think like, how would we grow? But it's one thing, it's more for me, it's like our mindset and then this self kind of hate. I don't know what it is. It's just, that's why when we do the culture show, I'm quite interested in, you know, the programs you guys run just to try and understand where we're going wrong as a country. Because I know definitely government plays a role, but I also think the people, us, all of us, we play actually an immense role, like a huge role. And you only see that when you're actually on the ground, like working in Sierra Leone in different places, and you just see how people interact with each other. Compared, like with me, I've had the experience to go to other countries. Like when I go to Ghana and stuff, Ghanaians are so patriotic. Like I don't think Sierra Leoneans are patriotic. Ghanaians are so patriotic. Like my Ghanaian friends, when I'll be like, oh, I want to come and do stuff in Ghana. They're like, well, you better know you have to do it with a Ghanaian. Mariama, you can't just come here and set something up. And some people will be like, oh, that's really bad. No, it's not. That's why the country is where it is right now. But so, like for us, I just don't know what's going on and why. Yeah, we just have, I don't know, this self kind of hate.
Now, Upgun are the problem. Upgun.
So Mama, we still able for buy lamp them from Muna from the diaspora also for we small host them now apply.
Yeah, so you know the diaspora, they have like the One Child One Lamp campaign, which is our education campaign, where we run fundraising parties. So there I'll do like a party, like a solar party. People buy a ticket and for like £10-15, but that ticket buys a lamp, which we donate to kids, especially when the mudslide happened. That's why we started that. So we've worked with nearly 400 children in 6 schools around that Kamayama area. And giving them, so that the diaspora really supported, like through all the events we ran. And then we had a special one in Sierra Leone. And I would just like to say, and I know you guys know, like last week they buried Mr. Abdullah Fidelis Toure.
Yeah, the commercial bank.
Yeah, he was so supportive. He's been so supportive of Smiling to Light and the One Child, One Lamb campaign. I remember when we done the event, we wanted to see how the bank can help us and support young kids, because corporates also have to play a role. You know, they've got their social corporate responsibility. So I went and I spoke to him about the campaign, and then he was like, yeah, but they had a school in mind that they wanted to support. So he was like, well, we want to work with this school, which is called Hope. It's in Kent. It's a girls' like academy. There's probably about 35 girls there. So they supplied solar products for the whole school, for all those girls. So like, may his soul rest in peace. And I know not only has he contributed to like Smiling to Light, but like a lot of other enterprises, businesses, charities. And those are the types of leaderships I believe like we need. We need Sierra Leoneans like that who are paving the way for younger people like ourselves, who are showing us integrity in your work, the kind of values that you have, and as a person, how you just give back to community. I think it's really important.
Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mama. I think you've spoken a lot about so many interventions and so many experiences of what you've gone through in Sierra Leone. But unfortunately, again, you've been going to Sierra Leone on a very regular basis, and you're just coming back from Freetown. And I think you want to share with us some of the new product that you have in the market right now, which is the PAYG system, and how are you going about to implement that?
Yeah. So like you said, this is like our third product that we're testing, and these ones, they're 2 bulbs. So not before, we've always been doing just like single lights. So these are 2 lights, but the interesting thing is that we're now using mobile payment. So before, all our products used to be on a cash basis. So 2 things that we used to do. Juma wants a light. He lives in Lonsar and Kamakwe. And that was the other thing, because now our focus is in the north. So we've mapped out the whole of the north, like within the next 3 to 4 years, this is where we're concentrating, this is where we're working, and then we'll move. So our shops obviously would be within the northern provinces of Sierra Leone. So T-Boy wants a solar product. He comes to the shop, or he's met a sales agent who has sold the product to him. And T-Boy's option is, we've got 3 types of products which you can buy on cash. So the Pico Plus, which is 80,000, the Pro 200 is 250, and the Pro 400 is 100,000. T-Boy has the money, so T-Boy can pay for his product. The agents wrap it up, give it to T-Boy. But T-Boy, we don't forget about T-Boy. We have all his information on. Then we were using an Excel sheet to record all our data. We do like lots of things. So every month we will call T-Boy, ask him how the products are, try and get like really impact from T-Boy. How is he doing? How is the product benefiting him? So T-Boy is like our cash customer.
Mama, for the sake of our viewers, where will they go and see these products physically or online? Because it's a shame that we're not seeing some of the product that you're talking about right now. But give us a link or direction of where we can go and see these products, and then you can continue the conversation.
So they can go on our website, www.smilingthroughlight.org, and the products are there. And also we have our head office on number 212 Lumley Beach Road, Freetown in Sierra Leone. So I'll put all the details at the end. Then probably some of the pictures I sent, you might put some up if there's time. But these as well, we're testing them because it's a new product. So we're now just doing like a test phase. And that's why I was in Sierra Leone. So I mentioned, T-Boy is like that example I gave, a cash customer. Then we had a credit customer. So Juma wants a solar product, but Juma can't afford to buy it. He can't afford to do an upfront payment. So what we offer to Juma is say, okay, you put an initial deposit down. So if you went for your 400, which is 400,000, you put 100,000 down. Then you have 3 months. Every month you pay. 3 months, then the system's yours. And then we track the agents come. So we have
the system home, or the system will be at the shop before you take it home after complete payment.
So he goes with the system. Once he's done his deposit, he goes with the system.
Okay.
And we check on it. And then also that's the thing, because I think there is a risk for us. The risk is not on Juma, the risk is on the business. But there is where you obviously build credibility and trust within the communities. Hence, why before we sell any product, we do all the community engagement work for like a month. Get to know the community, like the video, get to know the people. We know the chiefs, the key stakeholders, the women. So if anything, we know who we can go back to.
So if anybody will not the product, you not pay the balance money.
Yeah.
Is there any guarantor, or is there anything that you put as collateral, or somebody that will come and sign up for you to say, I'm going to give guarantee for this person. If he doesn't pay within the next couple of months, I will be held responsible. Is there any format like that?
So now we've changed it. So when COVID happened, like our year 1, year 2, we made profit. Our sales were doing really well. And then we had 2 challenges. Lonsar was one of our biggest, like our sales, they were amazing because of the mines. And then, you know, when all the stuff happened with the mines, all our sales went down. Our customers started to default. So our customers on credit started to default. So we had like a 10% default rate. At that particular time, when we're doing focus group discussions, people were asking us, because they were now used to a product that charges, they wanted 2 products. So a product for, say, you living room, a kitchen, or you veranda living, you know, you place it. So we were speaking to them. But then also, I'm really interested in technology. So we're thinking, okay, we're seeing a default rate. We've given a risk to the customer, because once Juma comes and puts his deposit, Juma is the one benefiting. He has the service he's actually paying for. It's a big risk we're taking. So Juma can just run away with the product without us doing anything. So what we're testing now is called a pay-as-you-go system, where we would still have the cash payment. We'll still have T-Boy who can come and buy. As a customer, T-Boy could still come. But those on credit are going to be transferred to the pay-as-you-go system. And a pay-as-you-go system is basically making mobile payments. So you use your mobile phone to pay for your solar product. The only difference with this now, if Juma, we don't sign an agreement with me and say the first of every month, why don't do me deposit? The first of every month, and they pay me 100,000. If Juma not pay, the system automatically goes off.
Yeah.
So, and like T-Boy is saying, we have a guarantor now. So if Juma, after 1 month, you still not pay that whole month, because the product is with you, it will be off. We can go meet the guarantor. We don't sign it. Say, Juma, again, we product, you know, pay you, please go talk to them. After 2 months, we can now come and say, well, you're not abiding. And we want to understand, like for Lonsar, when the mining stuff happened, we called some of our customers and asked them, why are you guys defaulting? We never used to default, like what happened? And then obviously they explained, which obviously most of us knew what was going on, but then there was an opportunity for them to tell us and explain lots of different things. So that's how the pay-as-you-go system works. And I think it's such a good technology because, one, so many people in Sierra Leone already use mobile phones. They use mobile payments. They understand how mobile payments work. It's a good way to use technology for our staff. It's just so excellent, like all the training that we're doing, even for myself, how the system, because I can sit here, I can see where the product is. So the female agents, everything now, they have a new mobile phone, which has an app. They meet Juma, they'll talk to Juma. Once Juma goes, and I know I can be here in London, I can see what Juma is doing. I can see Juma's payment. I can see how many people within Juma's area that's got this particular product. We can go and talk to them to say, why do you like this particular product? Do you want more of this? So that's one, that technology side. Secondly, I just think in terms of physical cash, that transparency, it's easy. So our agents don't need to, like, not before they were holding bundles of cash. They'll still have to on the cash basis, but it wouldn't be as much as say now, because these new products, they're 800,000. So you do a 200,000 deposit, which is we're testing, and then you have the 3 months to pay off.
So how do you deal with maintenance? Because I know that is the biggest default in our culture.
Yeah,
that we don't really get up to standard. How do you do maintenance if some of the products have some kind of defect, or it breaks down, or it falls, or it not just the work accordingly? How do you do that? Do you have a special mechanic shop where they don't set up for dealing with the repairing of some of these products there, sir?
Yeah, so with this new pilot, that's what we're doing. But what's the challenge there? A lot of the manufacturers don't want people to tamper with their products.
Correct.
So once you have it, if you start unscrewing it, and they don't like that. So what happens now, if Juma spoils the product, because you can test, you can see all of that now. If now Juma go do some things and then, no, if X one day take and this lamp bash, then we know it's Juma's fault. But
T-boy, when I'm a brother, because now me get the lamp, it vex. So when you can see this lamp now, they bluff with bash.
Exactly. So we know it will be your fault. But if it's a technical issue, what happens? We basically replace them. Then when we order from the manufacturers, because you track them, they just, when they send us our next order, they send it. That's not really a sustainable model. That is not what actually is sustainable, and what creates job is like what you're saying. We should have someone who's like some of our agents who will be able to fix them. But that's now working with the manufacturers because they don't want that to happen.
So do you have insurance policy in terms of damage?
Yeah, so all our products have a 2-year warranty. So that comes from the manufacturer straight down. So they all have a 2-year warranty. So within that time, if it's a technical product, if it's a technical fault, you just exchange the product. So for us as a company, we also track that. And I know like for our first bulk of order, which we ordered over 800 products, we probably had 12 that was like faulty because of like the programs now, and people are doing quality assurance stuff. And for us, we're working like with very, manufacturers that's good. So like the Germans, and I don't even think only for solar products, in just terms of good quality stuff, they're quite good like manufacturers. So they're people that we're currently working with. So that's like the pay-go. The other issue that we had, one of our biggest competitors, the products we've been using, they use them as well because they're one of the best manufacturers. So what we were finding was happening where we had a shop and they had a shop, their customers will come to us, our customers will go to them.
And they're also in Freetown.
Yes.
Because that's why I wanted to ask about exclusivity, because in as much as the need is huge, but again, compared to other countries, the market base is still small. So looking at how, I know there are some, companies or manufacturers that will say, okay, if you're there, we'll want to protect to make sure that you upsell rather than, allow somebody else to compete against you kind of situation. I don't know whether that exists in this, in your case.
No, I think like selling is just a level playing its business field, and we've got competition. The problem for us, or should I say the challenge, is that a lot of our competition's from the West. So what we found happening, and which is also quite a sad thing, in 2016, when the energy, you always find local people do advocacy stuff.
Yeah.
So we do the engagement. You see that a lot in the UK, and kudos to everyone that's doing that. But you'd see local people, we do the policy, engage, you go talk to government, Then 2016, the compact agreement happened, the market opened because the government made, and then all these international companies flooded in. And you just think like, people like myself, like I was giving the example of like in Barefoot Women who do like amazing stuff. They do massive mini installations, excellent stuff. There's just so many, like I could name like probably like 5 very good local companies that do excellent work, but we just get pushed aside because you're competing with players who have access to millions. Where salons of we own government know they give you 1,000. Last year, they done this annual investment meeting. This was our Ministry of Finance. So it was a pitch competition. So what they done was each country, you done a pitch within your own country, then you find a winner, and that winner goes to represent you, like in the Dubai kind of thing. So we won like in Sierra Leone, and it's good experience, like you have exposure and stuff. But all the other African countries, they're entrepreneurs that won in country. Most of them, they gave them like $5,000, $10,000 to build like silo nothing. You just got a certificate. And for me, I told them like, you have to invest in your people. Some of these grants that you hear about, there's a Munafa fund that's been spoken about. What is the, I think something they're giving is something we won't even apply for. I think it's like $100 or something minimal like that. That doesn't take your business anywhere, especially if you're thinking on a bigger scale and you want to scale to be at a big stage. So that is really challenging. So for us, the issue we're having, one of our biggest competitors, we were using the same product. So we wanted to differentiate, because also when we were approaching certain investors, they were like, oh, but we're investing in these people already. What's your big differentiating factor? Like for us, a key thing that would always stand out is like the women element of it. But in terms of product, so this trip is all around, and especially during COVID, we done tenders. So I was speaking to a lot of manufacturers, Zoom, trying to see. So now we're testing different products compared to them.
So are you now looking at, go on, Juman.
Yeah, so T-Boy, you know, all of a sudden find out, say, you know, you get family inheritance, you know, millions of pounds sterling sitting there at the, you know,
and I get some more to find out. I get some.
Yeah, no, but sometimes you're not been done or you not finalize the paperwork. So we don't finalize the paperwork now, then you find out, okay, I have this, not disposable, but this extra, you know, cash. And okay, one for investing something good and identify, is that possible? Is that something that's possible?
Yeah.
We buy into an ideology as well and on a model of business.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the money, it's believing in the product and the vision, right?
So we do fundraising in 2 different ways. And even COVID, this is another thing, like it was so challenging, but it was also an opportunity. So I know like once we've been, there's just something with Sierra Leone. I think in terms of investment, Sierra Leone is it's a small country. So a lot of investors to them is like, 7 million people. You can go like, you know, there's different countries on the continent that you're thinking millions of, like if you think Nigeria, like Kenya, the East, those places, they pump a lot of money into that. So one thing Honorable Yumkela is actually trying to do, because obviously we all know his background's in energy, is trying to connect the Mano River Union countries together. So he set up something now called 10, the Energy Nexus Network, which is working like with different partners in Sierra Leone. But the key thing he wants to try to do is get the Mano River Union countries, so the 4 of us, which would then give about 40 million people. So he wants to bring those 4 countries together more as an investment package. So if you've set up in Sierra Leone like we have, we can go and operate and replicate our business model within this and kind of look for investment with, you know, within the whole. Which I think it's a really brilliant idea. So when we're fundraising, because we've been set up in Sierra Leone since 2016 as a private company. But when you talk to investors here, they're like, because there's obviously insecurities about Sierra Leone, and we have to be honest about that. A lot of people are scared to take their money there. So most of the questions were like, okay, don't you have, are you registered in the UK? And you're doing stuff like, why aren't you registered? Because for them, all our money going to Sierra Leone, it's quite a big risk. It's not like us who would take that risk. So last year we had to, 2019, we had to set up a company here, a CIC, so a community interest company. I even posted about it because I came across this organization called Advocates for International Development. They're a legal firm and they provide pro bono support. So you've got lawyers from different places. They provide pro bono support for charities, community interest companies. So we went through a whole process with them of setting up a new company. So now what we have is Smiling Through Life UK, which is like our parent company now, and Sierra Leone is like our subsidiary now. So there is that investment comfort, shall I say, because they know. Obviously here is very structured, how you run your company, all your accounts, what you have to do. So everything we do in terms of fundraising now is done here, and everything, and then we implement in Sierra Leone. In terms of the question for investors, the type of investors we actually are seeking out are Smiling Through Life is more impact investors, someone who's really patient, And we've met loads of people which I would think like, I don't want to work with you because, you know, they just want to go to Africa in general, make money. That's not what we want. I want someone, if Femi says, you know, T-Boy has all this money and he approaches us, would work. Yes, they can buy shares because as a community interest company in the UK, you can buy shares, but you have what's called an asset lock of 30%, which basically protects to say, because it's community, you're doing business, but social, you should invest. So there's only a certain amount of shares that you can sell or release out. So the pro bono support that we get is to help us to do that. So if T-Boy does want to invest, he can, and he can buy shares. But that's great for T-Boy. But for us as a business, it's not only about the money. I want to know, how interested is T-Boy in Sierra Leone? Is T-Boy willing to say once a year he comes to Sierra Leone to see what we've done? Is he able to bring other skills and expertise that we don't have to make the business grow? So for me anyway, personally, I want, what's your core, what you're trying to bring to Sierra Leone? For me, it's quite interesting. So for me, it's never been about the money. I done a post yesterday about it, saying like, I love my team so much. We've not had millions, but what we have is integrity, we have values, we have standards. And that's what helps us to grow. Sometimes necessarily it's not having all this money. And why you would see a lot of other companies, a report just recently came out that compared local companies, because local companies are more nimble, like our say staff, not turnover, but like our monthly, there's a word you use, like say our monthly spend, it's less than $1,000. Office rent, salary,
operating costs, kind of.
Compared to like an international company, which might be operating on the scale as us, it's, you know, it's thousands. So on a long-term basis, the local companies achieve much more impact. They're more sustainable, but they get less support.
Wow. So somebody's asking a question on the YouTube page, and it says, what's the market product looks like comparatively in the UK in terms of cost and quality with USA or other countries' products?
In terms of solar stuff, the solar product? Yeah. Most of the manufacturers we see, not a lot from the UK. So in the US, San Francisco, a lot from Silicon Valley, and there's a big company who we've worked with, Greenlight Planet. They're really, really good. Like I've said, the Germans, so European companies, they're doing quite a lot within the space. Germany leading. So two of the manufacturers we've worked with there, we've worked with Little Sun, and we're now trialing the Forever product. So UK, I haven't seen like this kind of Pico home systems product coming out of here more. I suppose the UK, what they've been doing more is that policy side of things, pushing stuff, mobilizing the finance to get the work done. You know, they've been doing a lot of this work of policy stuff than say production of the product itself.
So is it also true that the Chinese solar company has been banned to export their solar systems to Europe because of the competitive level in terms of prices?
I haven't heard about that. I think what would happen now, people have learned about quality.
Yeah.
So the market would still be open, but it's more quality that people now understand that they need to go for, instead of anything else. And I suppose like most of the work lots of organizations now do, it's not only the selling, but there's the educational aspect of it. So there was once we went down, what's this, I think here, there's another slum fishing community when you're going up to like Godrich.
It's Funkia.
It's Funkia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what we found, most of the Chinese lamps that people were doing, and this is like another business model. Like saying you can do so much stuff. For recycling, we don't recycle. So, you know, like the batteries from these Chinese lamps they were using, people were just throwing them within the community. Just like, you just saw batteries everywhere. And that's obviously it's not good. So like, I remember I was standing there thinking, if I wish like if a company was set up who can actually collect and recycle, like have recycling plants in Sierra Leone. These are simple problems that you identify on a daily basis. and then you obviously come up with like a really easy solution. But for us, obviously, we can't do all of that because now we need to achieve our vision within the time that we have it. I want to focus on that before we kind of move on to anything else.
I know the business model you have is focused in Sierra Leone, and that's where the product ends. And I know you're looking for investors in the diaspora. What are the possibilities of having investors in Sierra Leone where the actual product ends? Is it been challenging for you guys to find investors within our own Sierra Leone community, either in Sierra Leone or the ones who are based outside in the diaspora?
No, I think the diaspora, I've met loads of Sierra Leoneans who actually, they've grown up here. So the difficulty for them, they're not like me. Because for me, they would want to invest, but because it's this trust, because Sierra Leone is quite one day, okay, you don't know what's going to happen the next day. Like, for example, this stuff.
Volatile and unstable, kind of.
Yeah.
Or unpredictable, you should say. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, now what's going on in Guinea? People are probably a bit worried, oh, that might happen in Sierra Leone, kind of. So you're very shaky with the, like, you don't know how stable the country is. So loads of people that's actually grown up here, and some of the ones that I've spoken to, it's not like us that regularly go to Sierra Leone who understand. They spend most of their life here. So we have to build that confidence within that, for diaspora finance. And sometimes it's not, one thing I know, local companies don't need millions. A lot of local companies, like for us, like our annual, now what we want to raise is 250,000 between the next 3 to 4 years, which we could use and spend, because on average, 60% of all our cost would go on buying products, which we're obviously selling. So most of the local companies maybe invest in 10,000. So looking at smaller ways that the diaspora can support, but someone obviously needs to take a lead. I know there's a girl, Grace Kamara, a Sierra Leonean girl. She's got something called Remit Aid, where she's working with the likes of Western Union to say when people send their remittances back home, 1% goes into a fund. And that fund is going to be used to sponsor water project, energy product, education project, so and so. So it's thinking about all these different solutions. But definitely, I think people are there. But it's the appetite. The business is good, but it's more that confidence of people coming into the country. I don't think the diaspora, it's not like they don't want to. They do, but you have to build that confidence, and that comes from government level. Because people can see me and Smile into Light and see our team, and they know it's a fabulous business. But if you don't have regulations, our Doing Business Index, I don't even know what number we're at now. If you don't have just those simple things, it becomes, investors pull a face on it.
Well, now, let's talk something serious. I know say electricity in a salon, a nightmare. And they can implement solar. Una fit to say government institutions like electricity go be happy with una kind of idea, because una they totally try for put them out of business. How much challenge una they face with the government policies for doing with electricity when are the general means of light and solar, we just they slowly integrate into the community?
Yeah, well, I think you have to have a mixture. And at the start I said, like, my ultimate dream for Sierra Leone is for us to be connected to the grid. For us, like, we're here, we just go and put the switch, but we're not there yet. And that's one thing we have to understand, we're not there. And because we're not, you have to think about what solutions are available. And these are affordable solutions, which are quite sustainable and which work. So, and the government knows that, because these are tested people of work, they understand how it works. So it's not like most of these companies were working and doing business to kind of support government agenda. Because the long-term goal of the government is, and most people that I speak to, most companies that I work with, is for you to be connected to the grid. But my mom's in 1060. It's here from way small, then they work on Bumbuna. So only I don't know how long it's going to take. So it's one of those points we all just sit down with, Bumbuna, like it's up and running. or we also support the government. And I think the government's appreciative to know that with small solutions like this, people are having clean and sustainable energy. You know, they're moving away, like we've said, we don't see kerosene and stuff like that. It's good. It's helping your community also to be much more a healthy community. So these things, they reduce a lot of like health problems as well. It helps educationally. So you're supporting a lot of their own social policy or social actions that they have. So it's a win-win, but there needs to be much more consultation. And I think there needs to just be a clear understanding. Like in the UK, they use a mixture of stuff. Some people are connected to the grid. I've seen wind, they're using wind. Now they're talking about hydro. So you can have a different mix of, you know, energy sources that can operate in a country. The ultimate thing is that people have light. That's like your number one goal. How you source it, how you get it, it's a different thing. But you need people, obviously, with that expertise who understand all these different things and how it actually works for your country. So it's probably, Sierra Leone, that's what we're missing, to say, okay, now Bumbu na normal, when we can think of hydro or wind or just different things. You need that expertise of someone that can come in to map out the country and say, within this particular area, they can have this, because if, for example, if it's hydro, they're much more closer to, say, I don't know, Big River or something. And those solutions are available. So, yeah.
Do you want to come in or not?
Yeah, I want to come in for ask Mariama before a television not say don't tire. I don't see the watching clock. If you watch the clock. So, what do you think Smiling Through Light needs to get to the next level of or take off? What are those things that really things are able for make, you know, when I enjoy a work, you left for, you know, be broke. You also expand when I reach to other communities. And but before you answer that, there was something I wanted to ask you, because you highlighted that in the next 3-4 years, your operation is going to be mostly, focused in the north. How do you select your areas? Is it based on needs? Is it based on accessibility? How? Why? You know, so that's now then 2 questions that I get for you right now.
So I'll answer the second one. Yeah, so we do feasibility studies. We also map out who's doing what within the country, because you just don't want to be all the companies in one place. So we know different people are working in the south. No, there was not much happening there. So it's a lot around need. The census guided us quite a lot. So within the north, the population's about 2.1 million people. Once you break down everything, all the different chiefdoms, how many people there. So that's like our focus. And I think it just helps us to be more focused within an area. We achieve, like within these areas is where we've been able to test, change, do this, test. So now it's easy if we move now to the south, we know the engagement might just be a bit different. But the products, the solution, the people, that would still be the same. So, but what limits us, like you're saying, most of the big thing now, we understand the market, we understand how the business model works. We've tested the business model. We know it works, it's been validated. Our accountants in Sierra Leone, you know, we do things in process, so we know, but what we need to grow is money, the finance. That's what you need to scale. And for me, we can sit and apply and write grants for long, but I don't believe in that kind of aid funding. I want us to operate as a proper business where you're getting investors and you're working in that sense. So that's where we are right now. And it's really difficult. So even next month, we realized during the COVID period, not only within the energy sector, because you have local entrepreneurs in different sectors, that there's just so much funding inequalities. And also, most of the money comes from the West. So Smiling Through Light is actually having an event at the end of October, which the UN is going to support, because it became a big issue during like COVID, where they started mapping. I remember I used to go to meetings and I would say, why isn't local businesses getting funding? And local business, and what then they will say to you, oh, but the funding is going to Africa. Yeah, no, it's Africa in the sense of,
right.
I'm African. I'm like, why isn't someone like me? And for me, it's the two things. It's like, you're African, also a woman. We know there's a lot of issues with women also getting finance that you have to deal with, because their thing would be like, oh no, we have solar African companies, but the solar African companies they're talking about are like American founders, British founders,
correct,
that go and operate. And I think what I've learned over the year is that people will support their own people. If I had, like the example you gave for T-Boy, if that was me, God bless, if I win millions, one thing I would want to do is set up an investment fund, because I know this is where the ideas are there. People have brilliant ideas, but they just don't have the financial support to get them there. And I know if I had that money, I would just, I would support Africans. So this is what's happening. All the money is coming from the West, and the West is giving it to their own.
Correct.
So the event we're doing is to call on the likes of the African Development Bank, people like Dangote, there's Tony Emula Foundation, which we already know are doing a lot of work. Mo Ibrahim Foundation. There's African entrepreneurs that's got, there are Africans who have money. So this event is trying to speak to them, show them the data, because at the start, it was much more experience-based, what we see. So people don't take you seriously. But now when reports are coming out, which says, if you want to make millions in Africa from Silicon Valley, you don't need to be an African, you need to be a white African for you to get the funding. So the guy actually that done it, he's now the correspondent for CNN, Larry Madura. He wrote one of his first big, when he looked at finance. He's done it now. The World Resource Institute, especially within the energy sector, they've started releasing Googler, who's like the voice, who said 90% of all energy funding goes to only 3 international companies. So now the data is there. You can start to explain. But my main call of action would be there. Okay, we've seen this. Where are where are our African entrepreneurs, people that's got money? Why aren't you backing a lot of the initiatives that people are doing? And even not to go far, like in Sierra Leone as well, why aren't the government supporting local entrepreneurs and growing them?
Right. So T-Boy, get your checkbook out and encourage other diasporans as well to do same. It's a problem, and we have to solve it, but then there are opportunities as well to, make your money back if you want for Mekam, and then invest them in something else. So T-Boy, pull the checkbook. Over to you.
All right, the checkbook will come out, and I will make sure say other checkbook then come out back as well. I know, Mariama, we're coming to the end of the program right now. You don't talk a lot about data collection and all the other stuff then related to Smiling Through Light. I just want to know whether you get a dynamic statistics of the difference in terms of learning, specifically for the younger generation of school, picking every go primary school and secondary school, when you implement the Smiling Through Light solar system. How has their education changed? You get any kind of dynamics where they show some amount of statistics of lower grade or higher grade or improved sense of learning before the solar system and after the solar system?
Yeah, so with the One Child, One Lab campaign, that what we done, so I said where the mudslide happened, so Sal Jallo, who is our project assistant, led on all this. So we mapped out the schools, we identified 6, said, okay, so the initial stages is that Sal will go to the school, they will collect all the students' information. So they would have their age, everything, their class, and their current grade at that particular time. So we will do an initial baseline study. And then they'll collect all that information. We would go do the distribution, give the kids the light. Then we check in every 3 months to see, and you start to tally and compare how they're doing. So what we found that if a child has a solar product, they're able to study 3 to 4 hours longer compared to them not having one, which obviously increases and helps with their educational grades. Also having access is much more safer for them, the health benefits. And that's one thing, when we did do the distribution, because we're finding parents would take the product for their kids. And you're just thinking, this is for your children's school. So some of them would, during the distribution, will say to them, "I'm not going to go now, mommy and daddy, this now for now." Because when we come to do the checks, they have to bring the product. So then we'd know if they've had issues with the product as well and how they're finding them. But with the One Child, One Lamp campaign, the kids get the small Pico Plus because they're more study lamps that they can use.
All right, thank you very much, Mariama. I don't know whether Femi want to come out in isolation now and see if you go for Rob Mott and just comment on some of the things that we don't talk about in the initial start of this program. But if you're watching this program, we've just been talking to Mariama Kamara, we are the CEO and founder of Smiling Through Light, a solar system we strive for encourage people and for get electricity by simply means of just either buying it cash up or paying by installment. We're not the new system now we're in the sky for implement in Freetown. Sierra Leone as a whole, but then specifically the focus now in the northern part of Sierra Leone, we're not even feel to say lack some amount of new invention in terms of electricity. So Juma, I don't know whether you want to say anything for wrap up before I come to Mariama for make it wrap up.
I just want to say thank you to Mariama and in team for believing in Sierra Leone, risking everything, and then venture Mediterranean. Because when I see the video, the way I see the sweat, I saw it for because when you see the sweat, now they know the difference between the JC and the home base. The kind of sweat where they sweat, say this is that JC sweat, that the sweat. So she was like,
Mr. Jallo, still... now he did it, battered it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what it's like. I said, Mr. Jallo there.
Yeah. But she still believed in, Sierra Leone. This is the beauty about the diaspora. We come, we learn, we see things there. And we want to make a difference, and a difference with the impact, Boku lives then within a short space of time. Imagine, going there, 7,000, some 100 people that we don't get access to some form of light. Imagine that kind impact they create. Imagine the problem that we don't solve. How many people then we don't get bronchitis, then column, some other kind lung disease from that fume where then they inhale. But then homes then they carry that anymore. You might think so now one small area, but now one small area problem now in the be national problem. Because imagine if they not no more get that kind of problem, they don't solve that. Imagine how many picking their way not able for study more comfortably, go able for focus, pass their exams them, and hopefully them picking and they go continue for go school and can help their family. So it's the immediate, short-term and long-term benefits of waiting and it is not more about profit. So we can all join in and invest in the business model if you believe in and rather than you go start something else, you can join in. And also, when they watch, we get government, yes, or if government people they watch, she highlighted the challenges, especially with the Wataki situation. That can be, so frustrating where you don't come or you don't do everything right outside, but then you get all these blocks. So do you want to try for watch? Then government, not just give certificates no more, give a small package, for help improve their business because they're creating jobs. 12 jobs is 12 homes. You understand? 12 homes times how many people? Average family of 5 or 6. You see how many people they don't put bread na their table or food na their table. So there are lots of things that don't pull people out of idleness and stuff like that. So we appreciate you very much, and we hope will come back. And hopefully, I don't know if they think about that, possibly the consortium part of business until now for venture into, with other people we get similar ideas, but not get the courage like we can for merge together and can do and create more impact. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we appreciate our viewers. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Juma. Just for give you a quick update, Mariama, we get Evangelist K. Abraham. We say, can I sponsor someone in Freetown on the solar business? If yes, please contact me. And I've just asked him to provide his contact so we can pass his contact on to you. Or before we end the show, if you can give me an email of the business so that he can reach out to you guys and see how best you can talk about how he wants to sponsor, whether he's sponsoring kids or whether he's sponsoring in terms of business Una can talk the rest anyway. So thank you, Evangelist Abraham. And I think this will go down very well within the community, because we always believe from our community we can support each other. That's one of the best things to do, because we need each other more than anybody else. If we don't support our own, nobody else will. Okay, well, I come to Mariama, make Igiwi what's in final say for the future of Smiling Through Light. Because I believe it is just the beginning of the beginning. And I want to make not listen to Juma, we talk to me, you know, small picking. I don't know you now for possibly 15 years or more. Yeah. And back in those days where you say you come into Smiling Through Light, it's because I've seen you at that younger age. And I'm not looking at you like a little girl, but I'm small picking. But now the fact I've known you for so long, and I was really impressed when I saw you for the first time, and I saw your CV and I look at your initiative and I thought, wow, Beam Talk. How can someone of her age decide to put together something like this to bring in young civilians who are actually doing well within the community and showcase them, because she's looking for female role models, which is something that we don't lack in the community, but we don't get them to come out and represent. So thank you very much, Mariama, for that. And I feel that's now one of the things that will inspire me more for bringing you on board and tell everybody about you. Now the group say, oh, no, Sabi Mariama, yeah, she's doing very well. She's good. She's doing ABCD. Look at what she's doing. So from that point in time, we've seek a special interest over what you're doing. We're following you without seeing you, but we're making sure that every step you take, we are behind those steps. But definitely, we will continue then step and see the end of Smiling Through Light, where we begin to do household installation and universities and massive big installations. Then we will cover a large spectrum of the electricity crisis we'll get in our salon. So over to you for your final say to the viewers that will get this evening.
Oh, thank you, Juma, Femi, T-Boy. I really appreciate it. I think for me to end, I just want to say this is a quote that I always say, and I think it's something that's really guided me in Smiling Through Light, is that we can all be the change that we want to see. You know, like obviously I'm in energy. I have a change that I want to see, people in agriculture, in different things. And especially for someone young that's worth watching, if you've got a dream, just go for it. Once you're going for it, ensure that you have people around you, like I said, like on our advisory board. I don't know if some of them are watching, but like really skilled Sierra Leoneans. There's a lady, Wilonora Brooke, who supports like HR, Georgina Ono Gordon, Sonia Fode. So we have about 4 or 5 Sierra Leoneans on our advisory board who are like experts in their areas. So it's not everything I know. We all can't know everything, but they have expertise in those areas and they're able to support me to achieve this bigger dream. So I would say to any young person, if there's something, try it, start small. It's not a rush. Like I started when I was young, but I was doing small things, testing. And we're not even big yet, but I know we're going to get big. And it's just a matter of time. And I just feel like for Sierra Leoneans in general, for all of us, like my plea is for us to be able to support local businesses. Like there's so many people from the diaspora. During this trip when I went, the amount of people that's going back that wants to contribute, people actually, and loads of young people, they're going back because some of them might have finished uni here, they're not able to get jobs, so they're thinking, if I go back, let me go and volunteer, do some internship, try and do something in the country. And I was so impressed with, with them to say they really want to take that risk, but it's because their heart is back home, and everyone, majority of us, if you cut our hearts open, we want to see Sierra Leone, that gorgeous, blessed country, which we can have. But I definitely do believe that we all have to be on the same plight. We all have to work together, and we all have to support each other. No one should be in competition with anybody, because, for example, Sarah Jem, you guys are doing media stuff. I don't know anything about it. Ask Femi before we came, there was so much stuff with my audio. But that's why you guys are skilled on that area. And I just think it's just best we all come together, work. When we criticize, let's give constructive criticism. Because I think Sierra Leoneans, that's what we're very good at. We can criticize so well. Then you say, okay, but you don't tell me, how can I improve it then? Tell me then. Then we're not able to give that practical solution or advice or idea. But one thing I know, like myself, I love Sierra Leone so much, and majority of people that I come across, they also have the same feeling. So let's work and strive for a really good Mama Salon.
Mama, I don't keep you waiting for another extra 45 minutes on your time, but that's us, Sarah Jane Media.
I know. Me, I keep watching our program, tell them want to. I say, oh my God, these guys.
At least we try, even though we don't make it by 11 o'clock. Okay. It depends on what we talk. But anyway, let us bring Femi in, because I know say when he ready for talk, now in camera they come on. Say Femi, I know say everybody don't they wait for your voice. You can't avoid without saying something. After we don't get this lovely sister who don't want to pass how many months. Finally, we get hold of her because of her busy schedule. Now you know how for can talk. Over to you, Femi.
Hi, Juma, dear me. Juma, can
loud
you hear
and
me?
Clear, loud and clear.
Thank you. So yeah, so for me, I'm gonna say hello and maybe good night to Una already watching. You know, I would like to say thank you to Mariama. But before Mariama go and left we, I just want to buttress some of the things that we Una don't talk about Mariama. I've known Mariama for a while, and he actually mentioned me workplace as one of the workplace that we been go do in Beam's talk. And you know, I felt so bad that I wasn't, you know, in attendance on that day. But you know what she's doing is amazing. And she said that she didn't have mentors when she was starting up, but right now we can see that she's ready to mentor a lot of our youngsters. You know, T-Boy they call her older picking as Juma said. You know, she's young, she's vibrant, and she's not that young. She's young, but she's been around. She's got the experience that a lot of people slightly older than her haven't got. Her CV is remarkable. Her experience even better than her CV, if that is possible for C, because you know it's easy to go get the qualifications. For actually putting qualifications, they need to work nine at the art scene, and she's found a niche market and she's working on it. And apart from it being a business, as you say, a social enterprise, she's doing good for certain people. Some of them people ask that they will get for can testify within my organization they do for them. So I'd like to thank her for what she's doing. I'd like to say to her, which I'm sure she knows, we're here. So lean on us for our expertise. And even if not so we own area safe, we possibly go know somebody, we know somebody. It's all about networking. So we're here. And again, about networking, me, I don't give my boku work and not a paid work. I seen stress because whenever they can call me my organization, say Femi can do this, and we want somebody. Mariama is one of the first names so they come to mind, and I don't involve them. Pambokutine, where I should see anytime I call them, he can say, "Hey, gosh, not Femi again." But you know, I wouldn't do that if I don't trust you. I'm hesitant in recommending certain people in for certain things because over the years I've worked hard to build within Lily reputation I get. And Mariama is one of those who are not even think too safe. So if you're out there and you need her help, I know she hasn't got time, but she finds it very hard to say no. So I give you more work for make more people encounter you for help. You know, she's a wonderful lady, and I would like to thank her for spending the last couple of hours with us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Femi. Well, I know say you know go talk anything where you not mention something, but thank God today not mention, especially when you talk about something produced solar. But thank God you not mention them. But I will be proud to maybe mention it because I think you school don't begin dealing with some elements of technology and solar and one way they for incorporating into the system. So when I not forget say Mariama gets small wins say they do. So basically Mariama, I'm opening up a new business venture for you because the grammar school possibly
grammar school una call Mariama or dear grammar school. Una call Mariama. Femi try knock the domot then grammar school. Then get extra money as well. Then get they get money. Yeah. Yeah.
So
tell them, let them can invest.
They might be
grammar school Yeah. Yeah.
So you see, I don't go Femi back. I don't bring and come back into you chapter.
Thank you.
But on a very serious note, I think Mariama has done extraordinarily well within the community. And like Femi say, she's not just a businesswoman. She's also a role model for younger girls. We possibly want for do something similar or something totally different, or want for take up the journey and go to Sierra Leone and start to do something either voluntarily or something paid up. But again, you cannot do those stuff if you don't have the backing of your family, which I think Mariama has received from her parents. So as parents, let's believe in our children's dream and see how best we'll be able to work with them and support them. Because when you have a dream, the dream can only be actualized if you have support of the people very close to you.
Yeah.
They should be able to believe in that dream. They should be able to support you in that dream. They should be able to walk the work and talk the talk and face the challenges of that dream with you. Then you'll be able to be successful in that dream because nobody will believe you other than the people who are around you first. So for Mariama, I think you've got that support from your family, and I think I will say big respect to you, Mama and you, Papa, because they've always been around you to give you that support, and they believe in you also. And for the thing that I am very proud of you is the fact that you leave your professional career that you have learned, and then you decide to take up something totally different just because of the passion and because of the belief that you think you can't see people suffering for electricity in Sierra Leone when are one of the most easiest and simplest commodities that every member of the diaspora have access to. Like you clearly say, you walk out of your house, you come home, you're very proud to switch the lights on. That is what you think everybody should have an opportunity to do in Sierra Leone, and you've worked on it. And definitely, the door is not yet closed because there are so many other things that will come your way in terms of making sure you actualize your dream of beautifying Sierra Leone through solar energy. I want to say thank you once more to all those that have made contribution on the Facebook and the YouTube page, and definitely Evangelist Ibrahim. If you want to reach out to Mariama, I think their website now, smilingthroughlight.org. So if you can just go through that website, you'll be able to contact her directly, because I believe there are contact pages there that you'll be able to reach her. But also, let's think of Sierra Leoneans ourselves in the diaspora. Like Mariama said, they don't tap into so much of the diaspora resources so that they will be able to come on board and give her that sort of financial and physical and professional support. Well, this now for the people back home in Sierra Leone, we believe say the diaspora is of no use to them. Femi sits here and cry and fight and shout and scream about the hard work of the diasporans in terms of making meaningful contributions to Sierra Leone. A couple of days ago, I listened to a video that somebody was talking down on diaspora. What has the diaspora done to Sierra Leone? What has the diaspora doing? They haven't done nothing. They just come and take and go. But guess what? It's not just because of politics. That's why the diaspora are going back to Sierra Leone and invest. Like I said earlier on, 90%, I will say that with confidence, 90% of the people who are investing in Sierra Leone from the diaspora are not involved in politics. But they've been frustrated, they've been talked upon, they've been cheated, they've done everything bad to them. But home is home. For as long as Sierra Leone is your roots, you will ever remain to be a Sierra Leonean. Unfortunately, there are people who might not want to go back because they've had so many difficult challenges when they've actually made efforts to go back to Sierra Leone. But Mariama don't become one of the living example of how to be persistent and how to be resilient and how to be strong in the capacity of her being a woman in the midst of a business that is so much dominated by men in Sierra Leone. And she is being able to take one step after the other, and now she's on phase 3 of her product, and she's now thinking of ways and means we're able to make sure say everybody gets access to the solar system where it is here for Green Camera Salon. We will be affordable for every Sierra Leonean. I think we should give her that support. I think we should make sure say we follow the dream and support them in any way, shape, or form we can. But Mariama, don't give up. The challenges haven't started yet. The baby steps that you've taken have been bigger steps. And when you want to take massive steps, that is when you're going to actually face the challenge of the brutal industry that we have in Sierra Leone, what we call business, when a dog eats dog war. But not give up. We'll be behind you at every given step of your way, and we'll follow your tracks. And also, if you to say, but to next one day, in real small ways, how we can, we will make sure that we interfere and we ask and we pardon and we request. Because
and we should blow as well.
No, you to get palava business.
It's true. Therefore, we should blow.
We talk about something, you don't go for tea, like facts. But anyway, not saying that if it is necessary, only when it is necessary, and we cannot negotiate any further, then Juma and I go whistleblow, they will support the whistleblowing. But thank you very much, Mariama, for being with us, like Femi said, for the past couple of hours. And definitely want to say thank you to viewers. Then we don't make immense contribution in support of text messages and WhatsApp messages and messages that we don't come through the chat group in support of what Team Mariama don't do. I think you get so many admirers there now the chat group, and definitely they are in full support of what you're doing, and they will continue to support you. So until tomorrow, I go pass on to Juma Lake Itelu now. What thing they happen now so tomorrow, because Danny not in Amiano now Juma yani day. But I go want to say thank you to Mariama once more. And
thanks, T-Boy.
Thank you to the guests then we on Facebook and YouTube. And we continue for follow me. Continue for follow Juma.
Thank you so much, T-Boy and the team, and viewers Facebook and YouTube. And tomorrow we do tonight again, and till now, we get for continue for advance the conversation on Sierra Leone at different levels then. So tomorrow we always can talk, see the issue of corruption are one of the big problems then at Salone. We don't hear a lot from the African Express over months. We'll get the return of Chernobyl. We're the editor of the African Express tomorrow. I go there with we for can't tell we, the thing that we then done, they dig on, the alleged corruptions that we done, they happen at Salone. And then also, it can't tell we waiting at the next phase. And sometime in the process, it can't tell we some new thing them we not hear it. So the return of Cherno Alpha Emba, editor for the African Express, go there with we live. Don't miss it. Come here. T-Boy don't get in questions them. Femi don't get in questions them. Mr. Deep and try forget me questions them. And when I say come to na question them, we can pose them to Chernobyl and discuss, because the issue of corruption will get for discuss them for push Salongo before. So small businesses like Smiling Through Light and so many other businesses them, go able for team up and push the country go before, and we'll go better than by. Good night, stay blessed, and see you all tomorrow at this platform.
Yes, this na term for all Salone people and then party them. Sarah Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO, because we get Beberebe program then like Salone discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour, and the Gladi program. Look me, I look you. All this they start soon na www.sarahjemmedia.org. Now who's term these? Somebody
Where person buy them products there, yeah, waiting and go for do. Where the sun come out, then they go put this product directly under the sun. The sun now they charge the panel. The energy from the sun they store on this panel, where you can now host even term for can turn your light on.
My name is Mariama Kamara. I'm the founder and director of Smiling Through Light.
What that is? All right. Una call waiting. Kabatenke, not so. All man they look now. Hey, Batenke, who's are you there? Then kind of meet the paramount chief. And the paramount chief say, well, if una want Batenke, we'll get for put small cooler for Batenke. Yes. Aha. So then, we all want clean energy, correct? We all want solar light. And more importantly, we want solar light for we picking them for study. We want solar light, some of we want solar light just for run ordinary freezer. Where they free tongue and know what italic, where I not get light for just put food inside me freezer. Because it means every day, first I go buy fresh food. If I don't cut the fish, before they put a light not there, the fish don't boil. Not so. If it where you smoke the fish, fly down, sit down, na tumbu the common, not so. But we Batenke down there, you get a light day. When net come, you put your freezer on with that solar day. Definitely, it go work. When you picking one for study, it like you know for put the big lights on, you picking, it go sit down, it go study fine. Because we're picking the study on the light, we're not good in yai. Not so? Right. And we all want to picking a healthy, smiling through light, solar energy. Batenke is about that. It's about health. It's also about wealth. As many other things as Mariama can explain to her. So, me, not stranger, but today, me I talk and say, I dey go inside una belly, make una born me inside Lochar, make una take me as una young picking. Case closed. Now me done so.
This is such an exciting time for us, and we've just launched a program called Shining a Light on Kamakure and Lonsau. So we basically got a grant which is a comic relief and DFID grant under the Common Ground initiative, and this particular grant is managed by Afford UK. So Shining a Light on Kamakure and Lonsau, it's all around job creation, income opportunities, getting the products in. So a couple of the activities that we're doing within this project is that we're recruiting 9 staff in Sierra Leone. So we're recruiting 3 staff in Freetown, 3 in Kamakure, 3 in Lonsau. We're opening 3 offices in Freetown, Kamakure and Lonsau. We're doing 2 community awareness events, which we held last week, Thursday and Friday. So we had this whole big road trip, and we're doing the community activities and we're using storytelling. So working with Mr. Yusuf Jallo, the Cow Footprint. So the project is in partnership with the Mambena Cultural and Community Project. And we're using storytelling because even as a company, I don't want people to just get the products. I really want people to understand that I'm using the product and these are the benefits of it. So we're doing a lot of educational work within communities, training them on how the products work, why they should be using the product. You know, we always tell them that light is good for your health, it's good for your education, it's good for your business because of loads of different reasons. So it's a really exciting project.
As a professional storyteller, I am here to kind of like engineer a story within the whole project itself. If you've ever been off country in Sierra Leone here, firefly is very, very common here at night. But not many people have actually noted how the firefly actually gives it light. In the daytime, it's stationary. In fact, it's hidden in the daytime, absorbing the heat from the sun. And then at night, the firefly energizes itself and literally just gives itself fire, light, in order to light its way around. That gives the firefly independence. That gives the firefly the ability to operate when many other living organisms probably aren't operating at all. And just those two basic principles are important for our women, whereby through working with Smiling Through Light, selling the solar lights, they're able to generate income for themselves. Through that income, they're able to feed their families, and they're able to kind of get some kind of economic independence. Up country, when you go to school and you have to study at night, you have to use what we call bengbe lamp. Now, if you've been in Sierra Leone, you ever use what we call bengbe lamp, which is like just like an empty milk tin with a twig in it, and then we put kerosene in that, and you study with that kind of firelight. Literally, you get black nostrils, to put it very mildly. But also, it makes the young people ill. Bringing in solar light, like Smiling Through Light is bringing in, will help a lot of young people to study efficiently at night, but also to study and get a better health, while they're studying at night. So for me, using storytelling and using the firefly as a metaphor to illustrate the use of solar energy, I think it's just very, very effective. It is within the cultural context of the people, and they just never will forget what Smiling Through Light is all about.
The problem we're trying to solve is really to make sure people are using clean, sustainable and reliable products. And why is this? Because only 13% of our population have access to electricity. So that means only 13% of the population have access to the grid. And once you don't, people now rely on different lighting options. So for example, people would use kerosene to light up their homes, they would use candles, they would use pan lamp, and these are all really dangerous. The good thing with solar products is that we're in a country where we have unlimited amount of sun. You're getting free light basically. So we want people to really have access to clean energy.
My name is Madam Mariama Kamara. Me na chair lady for the market women Marampa Chiefdom, and the trade what they do na lapa business at the deal with. The fuel system, they can short in the lights, because they get light free as how the light been they run today. And automatically, if they count solar system na low sir, I'm not going to tell you a lie. We they very happy, because at times we can get breakdown from the machine where they light for we. And when the machine break down, automatically you pick in there, then small lights they will make it and bug, they're not going to see fine. But if we get solar, the cable assist, we pick in there for let them read in a net for study. It's not easy for live now, sir. If the job, although job don't begin calm, but I'm not going to tell you say 15% of people they would now, sir, they don't get. No, it's not possible yet. Mama, this program where they try for bring calm, we're really happy about that, because now woman will get respect for person self. You can hire now with this project for can help Marampa Chiefdom. I say automatically we're ready for work with you. You get plan for in hometown. It will not go ever let her down. Shine the light, Smiling Through Lights.
I am Yusuf Ujalo, the cow footprints. And the firefly, they came like this. Na pancake, yantenga molua. Gudana yantenga molua baba horimbing. Shining a light, smiling through